Is this real? What is this? I'm mad. A picture of somebody on the front? This looks like straight out of Aladdin. You better lock in and buckle up, because you're in for another creepy and strange TikTok reaction video. I'm Jet Ski Chuck, and on these dark waters, you better keep your head on it straight. Swivel! Hyper mode activate! Going quantum.
Quantum mode achieved.
I lose him!
Good luck, Jet Ski Chuck. This Tartarian data will not be easy. But I'm sure you will manage like always, won't you, Jet Ski Chuck?
What's good, world? How fascinating was Tartaria? The old world. These are but just a few images. Just imagine the grandness, the technology that it would have taken to build such an empire.
This creepy, strange, and scary TikTok reaction is for entertainment purposes only. It does make you wonder, what type of materials did they use to make those type of buildings?
You can see the people are walking around on something that's absolutely remarkable. I mean, look at that. This is Buffalo, New York, 1901. Just stunning architecture. And this all has a frequency. We've talked a lot about this with frequency, resonance, fractals, all of these materials, all the copper that was used. Every statue on top of these buildings had copper. Every angel on top of these buildings had copper. And then you start to wonder, well, copper is only 1% of the soil. Where were they getting it all from? So Buffalo, New York, look at that fountain right there, right in the middle. Just, keeping the water intact. And then this is New York, Buffalo, New York, 1901. This was the sustainable buildings that people were, temporarily building. That's what they were telling us. You got right there. There's more water. And see how the society who was building these, because I don't believe that, they were horse and wagon time at that time, but the society who was building this, look at how much they cherished water. I mean, there's so much water and fountains and all of this. And then you go to the next one, which you have a Coliseum in Buffalo, New York. Picture I don't think many people have seen, which is interesting. Do you have this, and that can be energy.
Is this the World's Fair?
This is the World's Fair,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
This is the picture, and then let me just...
How cool would it be if the World's Fair was still going on? How cool would it be, honestly? The foods, to see the different gigantic lights that they got going on, man, kind of reminds you of that movie Tomorrowland. Have you guys seen that?
They staged all these photos. They staged, the horse and wagon, and, they came with a hammer and a chisel, and it doesn't make any sense. There was no hammer and chisel. There was no horse and wagon. There was no Oregon Trail. There was none of that. What there was advanced technology. Now, let's take it one step further. There's tunnels that are large enough to fit railroads underneath our feet. People arrive here after they hijack and steal all these buildings. They get in these tunnels and they actually transport themselves with whatever technology is deep down within the earth, and they get to all these cities. Then they put their name on top of these buildings, claim them, and then say this is Harvard and this is Yale and this is the first, Hershey's chocolate, and this is the first Tiffany's & Co. All these different names. They traveled through the underground part of the earth to inhabit and take over all these different cities. They're coming up from underneath the earth. That's how it actually went down. There was no Oregon Trail and somebody sitting across the wagon. There might have been. Some people might have tried to go with a horse and a wagon, but they probably
That's wild. No Oregon Trail? You mean that game I used to play back in the day where you had to hit those birds? Had to hit the buffalo? Man, that was my game back in the day. in elementary school. Oregon Trail. Man. But if these buildings been here, then yeah, man, it's... Oh, goodness. One giant script about Harvard and Yale? What? They found them? I gotta see what Harvard looks like. We gotta dive into that. We gotta see what they look like.
Harvard University is located in Cambridge, Massachusetts, USA, with a total area of 4,882 acres. It is one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the world and stands as one of the top institutions in the United States. With a history dating back to 1636, Harvard not only witnessed the development of the United States, but also holds a prominent position in global higher education. The university is renowned worldwide for its exceptional teaching and research standards, producing numerous distinguished alumni, including 8 US presidents such as Barack Obama and multiple Nobel Prize laureates. Harvard University boasts a beautiful campus with diverse social activities, complemented by extensive libraries, laboratories, and research centers.
Real quick, that does look Tartarian, just saying.
Emphasizing interdisciplinary research collaboration, the institution encourages students to broaden their perspectives across different fields, fostering innovative thinking and critical analytical skills. As one of the leading educational institutions globally, Harvard University is dedicated to cultivating future leaders.
Check that out. Something was definitely going on right there.
Leaders with a global perspective. Its distinctive academic atmosphere and outstanding educational quality have made Harvard a dream destination for countless students.
Did you know that in 1999, workers renovating this chapel at Harvard found an old well? This site, built in the 1740s, was part of Harvard Medical School for a while and was used for anatomy classes until the mid-1800s. Sometime around 1770, the Harvard Spunker Club was formed, and members went around robbing graves of freshly buried bodies so that med students could have cadavers to practice on. The club was so secret that members were forbidden to even write the club's name. Eventually, officials caught on, laws changed, and by 1815, graveyards were patrolled to keep those resurrection men out. But still, in the mid-1800s, a Harvard janitor was getting paid $25 per body, and he was also getting paid to get rid of them, dumping them in places like the basement of this chapel on Harvard's campus. So there you have it, an 18th and 19th century medical school's quite literal interpretation of the concept of habeas corpus.
Habeas corpus? What? Oh yeah, we're definitely seeing some ancient building similarities that we see all around the world. The pillars, the ether conducting rooftops. Oh yeah, I see it at Harvard. Do you guys see it? Comment below what you guys think. And it's not just Harvard, it's all these other ones too, I bet. They said Yale. I wonder how many more.
Did you know the John Harvard statue is a statue of 3 lives? My name is Perrin and I'm a tour guide with the admissions office. So on the statue it says John Harvard, founder, 1638. These are all actually not true because we were founded in 1636 by the Mass Bay Colony, and we were originally called the College of Newtown. John Harvard came along in 1638 and donated a lot of money and land, and we renamed the college after him. The last lie is that it is not John Harvard in the statue. In reality, we actually don't know who it is. This is because we didn't know what John Harvard actually looked like.
Who is this is the big question. That is a mystery.
The saying goes that the sculptor grabbed a student walking through the yard in the 1800s and said, "You look like a Harvard man." And here he sits on the John Harvard.
No, that's not good enough. Somebody was on one.
Statue.
Harvard University is a complete lie. Designed in 1884 by the famous American sculptor Daniel Chester French, this is the statue of John Harvard, the Puritan minister who immigrated to America in 1637. The statue reads John Harvard, founder, 1638. There's a tradition of rubbing the foot of the statue, however, I wouldn't rub it because there's also a tradition of urinating on it. But of course, all statues are a great resource of learning history, right? Well, no. This is not actually John Harvard. This is an allegory for a man who likes reading books because no one actually knew how John Harvard looked like. Puritans did not like to describe themselves. They saw it as vain. He is also not the founder of the university. It was founded in 1636, and when he died of tuberculosis, he donated 400 of his books to the university. Hence, they named it in his honor. Hence, the statue is a complete and utter lie.
You can see the cathedral healing vibrations, the energy ether building techniques, just like the crop circles. Yeah, this was definitely an ancient structure. Look at these windows. Why would they have, if this building was dedicated for World War One? Why that looks Roman? You know, that ain't adding up. Who is that? Who is this brother right here? Who is this brother? My question is, how come people aren't building them like this now? Look at the red bricks. We all know that red bricks can conduct electricity. This looks like something you will see in Europe. This is inside the Harvard Church. Look at the pillars. Come on, y'all. Yeah, this is ancient tech. They got Harvard all ancient out. Find Harvard. You know, this is just Harvard. Who knows? He said Yale too. You know what I'm saying? Man, all these old ancient buildings, you know, it kind of makes you think, you know, about Tartaria. You know, if you look at the old ancient map that I'm going to put right here, if you look at the old ancient map, it looks like Russia. It looks like where Russia used to be. So I wonder what type of structures is down in Russia that resembles these old ancient structures. You know? Your thoughts below. Tell me what you think.
What in the tarnations is going on? Remember them ones there? What in tarnations is going on? Well, I'm gonna tell you what's going on. This new Tartaria archive, public. Oh my days. Oh my diddy. So now we know what this about. I come up with the Tartarian thing. He's basically saying that Tartaria was one of the biggest empires in history, but yet it's been removed from history books and it should be taught in schools. You know them ones there? Where Russia's land is, that's where Tartaria was. Like, the biggest part of Tartaria was where Russia is. And guess who's trying to talk about it? Putin. And guess who everybody hates? Putin. What in tarnations is going on?
Shout out to the Bully Slayer. One file, wow. What in tarnations? That makes sense now. What in tarnations? Tartaria? What in tarnations? Let's go. Who used to say that? Was that Looney Tunes? Yosemite Sam always shooting? What in tarnation? Used to go crazy back in the day, man. What's in Russia, man? What y'all hiding in Russia, man? What type of ancient structures y'all got in Russia, man? We need to see it.
I'm not trying to convince you of something that's totally unbelievable. What I am trying to do is to show you the different things that I'm finding and getting you to use your own mind to process what your eyes are seeing. This is Russia. There's quite a lot of intricately designed, what I would say, Tartarian buildings all across the country. I think they're a lot more open with being aware of their Tartarian history, because these things are right in your faces in ways that you really can't argue. There's a design here, very intricate. Look at all the Antiquitech antennas on top of these buildings. That's the Kremlin, which is obviously a Tartarian building, free energy generating system there. If you just look at it, these things are unexplainable from our understanding of science and architecture today. That's what I want to do, is I'm trying to show you these things so that you can see them and process with your own eyes what they are. Mr. 76 signing out. I'm not trying.
This first one, though, is bonkers. Look at this. They got a picture of somebody on the front. This looks like straight out of Aladdin. A whole new world where magical things. Yeah.
I can open your eyes, take you wonders by wonders, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride, a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view, no one to tell us no, or where to go. I'm sailing on a dream. Unbelievable sounds, indescribable feelings, so return grace revealing through an endless diamond sky, a whole new world, 100,000 things to see. I'll chase them anywhere. It's time to share. Let me share this whole new world with you.
Yeah. Is that what you're telling me is in Russia? They hiding all that?
The Tartarian Empire was a major world power. Hidden away from history, they were multicultural. In the 1900s, the empire was divided into Russia and other countries. History has been altered following the events of 1812. Neoclassical architecture was seen all over the world.
Imagine being transported back in time to a lost civilization, one that was once a world power, but has been quietly hidden away. Today, we are uncovering the secrets of the Tartarian Empire's stunning architecture. Dive into the history of this major world. Power as we explore the breathtaking palace complexes and extraordinary buildings that have been hidden away for centuries, from the intricate frescoes to the towering columns and ornate archways.
Churches had large domes with mercury and antennas for energy, harvested from the atmosphere.
The Tartarian Empire's architectural legacy is a true marvel. As a history buff or architecture enthusiast, you won't want to miss this incredible journey back in time. And the best part, you can bring the magic of the Tartarian Empire.
The Tartarian
I'm trying to see the photos. Man, look at them. They just walking like it's no big deal. They see this every day. Like, oh, whoop-de-doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, look at that airship, boy. That takes him to the outer rim, guaranteed. Beyond the Antarctic wall, that boy is gone. Pew! I'll let y'all later. That thing is massive, man. It is a big, giant world out there. Massive, man. We got to get out there. But yeah, man, it makes you think, man, about these underground railroads in these cities. You know, if the mud flood happened, I'm telling you.
Russia is where you can find some of the most conclusive evidence of the mud flood. It should come as no surprise for those who know when you look at old world maps and you look at things like Russia's coat of arms and the relations with the Tartarian Empire in the last reset, the mud flood. These scenes that we see from Russia, the fully intact log cabins in Moscow, should come as no surprise why we see so much evidence of the last reset here in Russia. The Siberian forests, for example. What a huge difference less than 100 years make. Speaking of Siberia, you ever wondered why most of the world's forests are under 200 years old? It is because, in my opinion anyways, most of them were buried under the mud. In the last reset, less than 200 years ago. But this is just a small sampling of the hundreds of pictures I've collected of the mud flood from Russia. And even more so, the thousands and thousands of pictures I've accumulated over the years from around the world. As I've said before, this is...
Look, they still got the electricity running through the wires. I guarantee you, if they dug some more, they'll probably find 3 or 4 more layers if they kept digging. Who knows how tall these buildings were?
This is realm-wide. In every country, in every continent, in nearly every city. Let me know what city or country you want to see next, and I'll see what I can dig up for you. Question everything, friends.
Even the ground was conducting the free electricity, the free energy. Look at the designs. It was probably bouncing. Can you imagine this thing uking the first day it was made? I'm like, all right, it's finally completed. Turn it on. The whole building shaking and the energy coming everywhere. Everything lighting up, bouncing off the ground. Oh my goodness. Where is this? This is in Russia? Oh my goodness. If this was the last place where Tartaria was, they gonna have all these type of ancient buildings. Look at this. There's no way. Is this real? Can we get any confirmation that this is real? Any type. This is ridiculous. How come we aren't taught about this stuff? This is more impressive than the Eiffel Tower, if you ask me. So why do people keep bringing up, the Eiffel Tower? Isn't the Eiffel Tower one of the wonders of the world? This right here, if this is real, this should be up there. Nobody's talking about this. Is this real? What is this? I'm mad. I haven't seen this before. I want to get a wedding photo up there, I want to see this one day. They wouldn't be able to get me to leave, honestly, if I was able to come see this thing. I'm like, how old is this building? 1,000 years old? Y'all know anything about this building, let me know. This is out cold. This is probably one of the tightest buildings I've ever seen in my life. Look at this. And that boy was conducting, getting charged up. They got a bell sitting there just chilling. What? This is a big deal. They were supposed to get rid of all these bells, but they kept one. This is huge. We haven't even dove off into the bells like that lately. But I have a feeling we might need to. The frequency. We're going to talk about how this keeps the reptilians from shapeshifting. We're going to talk about that. But maybe we should. Have you guys ever seen any of those buildings? Anybody? Has anybody ever seen one of these buildings? And can we get confirmation if these boys are real or not? Because those are just shocking. And knowing what we know now, there's no telling how long ago they were made or who made them. We really don't know. I have my hypothesis of how they were possibly assembled, but we still don't know who made it or when.
Tartarian giant foot.
Hold on. Are they trying to say this is a real foot in Russia in 1930? I don't know. This might be a reach on this one.
Tartarian giant foot.
Look at this family. This is Tartarian architecture in Spain. Another one, but this one is in Russia. And another one. But the one that is the most beautiful is this one. Family, let's talk about Gran Tartaria. The only country that still has the architecture of Tartaria. It's the only place on earth that survived the mud flood. Look at this one, family. This one was built before 1554. This one, they started to use it in 1755. All of these buildings, family, are more than 500 years old. Russia is still the closest to the other side, the land beyond the wall. Family, is this the reason why they don't want us to visit Russia?
Oh, man, those buildings are nice. Man, very nice. I can see why someone might want to visit. They were motorized in 1920. Yo, what are these? They got the griffin below them. Is this some type of storage? If I had to guess, I would say these were energy capacitors, capable of storing the etheric energy throughout one another. Or it could have been their old cell phones. First glance, they got the griffin up under it. You know, they got me thinking about Harry Potter now. What's Harry Potter on with all these griffins, you know? They might have knew something. But this is interesting. What are these, coins? Where is this stuff? Guys, jump in the comments below. Tell me what these are. I need this book, man. Where are they getting these books from? I gotta see this. Why is this my first time seeing this?
Pay attention to this magnificent building. It's 500 years old structure. If you think that today's technology is so advanced and our ancestors were only people who lived in a cave, you should know that this structure was built before heavy equipment such as crane, backhoe, bulldozer was even invented. And the most interesting part is that today's equipments and technologies cannot duplicate it unless it'll take decades or even centuries to build such detailed building with our modern tech, whilst the Tartarians built it within years. Pay attention.
That building is incredible. Just seeing it through these videos is like, wow. Look at this chair. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is definitely Russian. You can see them. Normally this is stomping on the griffin, their flag. Wow. Oh, those were the devices. Did you see them? Oh, and that ain't your normal. If you look, that's not your normal fireplace either. Man, there's so many gems in this place. Wow, they right next to it. They wouldn't be able to get me to leave. I'll be taking so many pictures, be up under it. I might lift one of them boys, like a dinner serving, just to see what's up under it, man. Look at the architecture on top. I'm overdue for a vacay. I gotta see some stuff, man. It's a big world out here, man. I gotta see this. You guys know about them chimneys, but look at this vase. Oh my God, this gotta be the best vase I ever seen in my life. You know, and I've seen a lot of nice vases. I watch Kung Fu flicks. Even in Rush Hour, you know, for example, you know, Rush Hour, they was protecting these vases. You know, the Japanese and Chinese, they don't play about they ancestors' vases and stuff. But this is on a whole new level. They got a sculpture on it. You know, that boy probably made out of gold. Man, they went crazy. How much y'all think this boy here is worth, huh? This is nice. Very nice. They got the little present on there. Who is this for? This creepy, strange, and scary TikTok reaction is for entertainment purposes only. This building, this is where we gotta go, y'all. It looks like an actual museum you could visit. You know, we might need to take a field trip. A Dark Waters 9, everybody load up, field trip. We all meet there.
Russia, the old world
Places
kingdom.
all over Russia are littered with the ruins of the old world. Many still adorned with the
Tell me that doesn't look like the Washington building. Look at me in my face and tell me this doesn't look like the Capitol building.
technology of the old world. Those antennae used to harvest the free energy from the ether above. And just look at the quality of some of these structures. Those red bricks that can stand the test of time. Left to rot in the middle of nowhere. That is why I laugh when people say we have an overpopulation problem and that we have the most population that we've ever had. Think about all those ancient ruins, all those structures just left buried and forgotten. And these are within the last 200 years, or so the story goes. I believe we haven't even came close to hitting the population levels that we had pre-reset. And if you need further proof of just how amazing these structures look, just look at what they were in their prime. Here's some of these structures in Russia.
Yeah, that looks like what was behind the chair and almost some stuff in Harvard, honestly.
back in the 1800s. It just looks like something out of a fairy tale. Certainly a fairy tale compared to the ugly boxes we live in now. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Russia, the old world.
Look at those, man. Them boys was conducting. You gotta ask yourself, how could they even get this here in the first place? My theory, airships, y'all. They brought these piece by piece. There was a foundry nearby, and it might have took 2 or 3 airships, or they might have been one going back and forth, or one mega one, who knows? But they was dropping them boys off. They'll have someone drop like a little rope ladder down, he'll calm down, and then they'll have those boys connected to the rope, and then they'll kind of, inch them down. They might have had some mechanical lever, who knows? But I know that if you have a multiple two airships, you can definitely carry one of these, and you dropping these off. And that's how they was building all the ancient structures, if you ask me, was airships. They was meeting somewhere like a foundry, something like a Grand Canyon. And they had a giant machine digging them out, and they was making the materials for the buildings. I can't say giants could do it because they too clumsy. It could be like a giant carrying these things, he might drop it, or he might smush one of them bricks. Let me be a foreman for one of them giants. I'll be snapping on them. Like, look, man, you done knocked off 3 statues of that last building last week, man. Your clumsy butt better walk a little bit slower and get these blocks stacked. You know what I'm saying? I'll be working them giants. Jacking a beanstalk in them.
Kingdom.
All over.
For all those people who was wondering what happened to Tartaria, we might have just found it. This may be the modern day Tartaria. So, Turkmenistan is a country found in Central Asia, and I don't know who their architect was, but their buildings look Tartarian. So let's take a closer look. As you can see, they've got gold domes on top of the buildings, which we now know to be natural energy conductors. It's been a long time since somebody made a building this way. And look at this one. This looks like a modern day pyramid. That looks like a spaceship. Like, what do you think the purpose of this building is? Now that's definitely a natural energy conductor. So yeah, it's definitely one of those cases of we don't build them like that anymore.
Oh my goodness. It's like the Tartarians are still here, and they just slapped that boy together while everybody was asleep. They said, oh yeah, we still here, but let us slap this one together just to let them know we still around. You know what I'm saying? This is incredible.
I'm traveling to the strangest country in the world, a country where every building and car is required to be white in the capital. There is basically no Wi-Fi and all websites and apps are banned. But the weirdest part is that the city is full of these huge, lavish, eerie monuments with no people around. Welcome to Turkmenistan. I board my flight in Istanbul, and there's typically only one international flight per day into Ashgabat. The first thing I notice upon landing is that even the airport is built of white marble and gold, which seems a bit unnecessary but is beautiful. They required to have a pre-arranged visa and guide for the entire length of your trip, so my guide picks me up from the airport and I get my first look at all of the white cars in the parking lot. The hotel I'm staying at is a 3-star hotel and only $70 a night. Look at this place. It looks like a king's palace. There are hundreds of rooms at the hotel, and from what I
70 a night? And it looks like you staying in a palace? Sign me up. No Wi-Fi? You know why there ain't no Wi-Fi? Because their signal can't get through. The Wi-Fi signal can't get through because they charging up off them buildings. Come on, y'all. Where y'all at, man?
I gather there are only a handful of people staying here, which becomes a theme for the trip: luxurious, over-the-top buildings with no people. I still have so much more to see and explore here in Turkmenistan. Follow along as I share exactly what this country is like.
Honestly, why do you guys think there's no one there? Honestly, if you get off the bat like me, off every single one of these videos, I'm off the bat, man. I don't get time to sit there, think, and process. No, we gotta move on these waters, you know? We jumping right into a reaction right after it. But let me tell you my thoughts on it. On this Turkmenistan, while nobody's there, because they found it. This might have been one of the last Tartarian type buildings that they made. Or they might have made it while we was asleep. Everybody was sleeping 12, 14, 12. 2 years went by, and next thing you know, bam, they built these Turkmenistan boys in Ashgabat. Y'all? Come on, man. Off the bat, what do y'all think? Why is it empty? Y'all tell me, man. If y'all on these Tartarian waters with me, Turkmenistan and Ashgabat, this is a huge deal. Look at these structures. Look at that. These boys about to blast off and go to the outer edge without us. You know? What if this was some type of portal? You put the dials in right and that boy is a Stargate. Come on, y'all. We can jump in Stargate territory. Don't tempt me.
This is what it's like to travel to the weirdest country on Earth. I am going to Turkmenistan, an isolated landlocked country in Central Asia. The first thing you need to understand is there is no internet here. Essentially, every website is banned, and I had to tell people I'd be out of contact for the entire length of my trip. You can't travel here without a pre-approved visa and pre-arranged tour guide for the entire length of your stay. In fact, the country only recently opened up to tourism after being completely closed since 2020.
That's suspect.
Calling this place strange is an understatement. The capital city is full of grandiose utilitarian monuments and virtually devoid of people. There is just an eerie feeling visiting these buildings with scores of empty stores inside, almost like a ghost town. It just felt like something was wrong and you couldn't say exactly what it was. Ashgabat is known as the city of marble, and every car has to be white or silver, and it's a crime to drive a dirty car in the city. This is no doubt the weirdest trip I've been on. Make sure to follow along as I shed more light on this very interesting country. While my first impression was just total awe of this country, I want to share what Turkmen people are actually like. Make sure to stay tuned for a deeper view into this country.
What a mystery. That boy is empty. Honestly. What a mystery, y'all.
I traveled to one of the least visited countries in the world as an American, and this is how I did it. Turkmenistan is known to regularly deny visas and gets just around 20 international visitors per day on average. The only way to travel here is by booking a tour with an official tour company. There are actually several companies offering the service, but the reputations vary. To get the visa, these tour companies apply on your behalf. The government is known to regularly deny people with no reason given, but the pattern suggests anyone with a social media following or ties to journalism usually gets denied. I somehow managed to get through and ultimately got a paper for travel. That allowed me to board my flight in Istanbul for the capital Ashgabat. Once I arrived in Turkmenistan, I then paid for the visa and got the official sticker placed in my passport.
I initially thought I would need to have a guide with me.
So they are being super careful of who they let in this country. You know, they like, hold on, man. What are you really trying to do? You trying to activate the sequence to turn these energy reactors on? Or are you just trying to ooh and ah and go home? The first one.
We on a spaceship and all types of buttons. We'll be flipping switches. We'll be turning everything on, man. I know y'all got the energy reactors in here somewhere, y'all. We tired of the lies. Come on, y'all. The energy reactors gotta be here somewhere.
The entire time during the trip, but this turned out to not be the case. You have to go on a guided tour, but if you want to go off and have lunch on your own, you're completely fine to do that. Also, on the last day, our tour ended at 1 p.m. and it wasn't until 2 a.m. that we had our flight, so we had the entire day free to explore on our own. This was interesting because we got to see Turkmenistan without our guide, but it was still just as strange. That was actually the time that I went to the US Embassy to check my email and make sure everything was good with my flight going home. Apart from email, I had no connection to the outside world during my time in Turkmenistan, and this made me nervous.
Yeah, because they harnessing the ether. They sucking that Wi-Fi in as energy. They using your Wi-Fi all around you as energy. That's why you can't. There ain't no Wi-Fi working. You know, there'll be no Wi-Fi working at my crib if I knew how to pop this Mercury rectifier open. Bro, I can't find a video talking about Turkmenistan. If y'all got any information on Turkmenistan, please, we'll love to hear it. Drop it in the comments because it's not even popping up.
For all those people who was wondering what happened to Todd.
Doğru bilmesini görün altında kuşun gayrı.
They're saying these are the Turkmenistan people, but they stay on the outskirts, you know, with the heliocentric. This was all shot in the same location, not far. We want to see someone activate that building. That blanket looked comfy. Did y'all see that blanket? Ah. A real well water.
On the planet, and today I'm in Turkmenistan. I'm currently at the gates of hell, which is this burning gas crater that has been burning constantly since the 1980s.
Let me get this straight. We were on a search for Turkmenistan, and this dude said he just found something called the gates of hell that has been burning since the 1980s. This place's Wi-Fi doesn't work. They don't want you to know too much about it. They have a Visa passport. Check everything about it. If suspect was a country, Turkmenistan, Ashgabat is that place with a capital S. Let's start this over and let me hear what this young man just said again.
I am trying to visit every single country on the planet, and today I'm in Turkmenistan. I'm currently at the gates of hell, which is this burning gas crater that has been burning constantly since the 1980s. So people were trying to extract the gas here in the Turkmen desert, and this crater here collapsed. And since then, gas has been coming out of the crater, and it's been burning ever since. And the crazy thing is, the Turkmen government has actually been trying to close down the crater, because gas is burned for 1 hour. It's equivalent to a brand new car, the amount of gas worth burned. But it's actually very hard to close the crater down, because if you close it down, it might erupt somewhere else because of the pressure underneath. So it's actually not that straightforward. And here we are. It's still burning. It's 2023 and it's still burning. We'll see if the Turkmen government will find a solution at some point to close the crater down, but it is, no doubt, one of the biggest tourist attractions here in Turkmenistan. So greetings from the gates of hell. I am trying.
Alright, y'all, we gotta process this one. But if you've ever jumped in the comments, I need you to jump in the comments and tell me what is going on with Turkmenistan, Ashgabat. You see where the direction we're going on these waters. You see it. And they got something called the gates of hell they can't shut off. Now, first couple theories I'm thinking about. First theory, something's buried up under there. Some type of building, some type of structure, some type of portal. Something's buried up under there. And when the mud flood happened, it buried it. Second reason, Stargate emissions. Maybe if that was the landing spot and there's some type of energy trapped up under it. Number 3, I ain't thought of it yet, but give me a little bit. Crater though? They said it was a crater? Come on now. We know all craters really are geysers. You know, so what if... I don't know, man. This is a tough one. I have no idea. I literally have no idea. The gates of hell? You know we're going to dive into this one. Turkmenistan, Ashgabat, gates of hell? Y'all secretive and, you know, everything suspect? Yeah, you got the latest Tartarian buildings and one looks like a rocket ship. Where you going? Hold on a second.
This city is made of marble. Residential buildings, government buildings, monuments, all covered in marble. It actually holds a world record for most marble buildings in the world. Even the cars match that eccentric style of being mostly white. This is Ashgabat in Turkmenistan. And the country's wealth mostly comes from having the 4th largest gas reserves in the entire world. Would you travel here?
Ashgabat, Turkmenistan is the world's strangest city, and here's why. Believe it or not, Turkmenistan's natural gas makes it one of the richest countries in the region. The majority of this money goes directly into making the capital city look amazing. 80% of all buildings are covered in white marble imported from Italy. In fact, so much marble was used that it won a Guinness World Record. Between its manicured gardens, elegant fountains, and detailed statues, it feels like a strange version of Disneyland in the desert. But despite the size and beauty of this city, the streets are shockingly empty. You get that feeling that someone is watching over you, like North Korea, and it's intimidating to take photos. The former dictator's weird laws will leave you scratching your head. He named all the months after his family members. He banned circuses because they were too noisy, and he made it illegal to have pet dogs because he doesn't like the smell. Ashgabat is definitely the world's most interesting city, and if you ever get the chance to visit, I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Would you guys travel to Turkmenistan, Ashgabat? Drop in the comments below if you would. We're going to keep going on these waters, man, but the pieces are starting to add up about Ashgabat, man. The portal, the gas reserves, I don't know.
What in the world is going on in Ashgabat, Turkmenistan? I mean, not only do they have all of this craziness going on, but there's also a giant crater that's always on fire. That kind of reminds me of the craters I've talked about in my other videos, if you catch my drift. But this isn't the craziest part. No. The craziest part about all this, even though they have things that look like Lucifer's torch and the egg of Ishtar and a giant plunger, the craziest part is this place is completely empty. And when I'm talking empty, I mean empty. You would be lucky to see one person or one car driving around in this insane city that's mostly made of white marble. The city that has another thing that looks like Lucifer's torch. Just look at this place. Literally the craziest looking city I've ever seen. I mean, if this place doesn't give you major Antichrist vibes, I don't know what does. This is their former president who's wearing a cape and statues with shields of lions on them. You know who's talked about as coming back as a lion, right? I'm not even done yet. There's more. I haven't even talked about these crazy ruins in Ashgabat. These ruins that look like they came from a prior civilization that probably had much better technology than we are led to believe. Technology that I'm willing to guess exists in this city if they're able to offer free gas and electricity. Could it be that they're able to offer free electricity because their city literally looks like a motherboard computer? That's the city. That's the city, and I'll show you. All you got to do is back up, and you will see that crazy city sitting right in the heart of Turkmenistan. Man, and I thought Astana, Kazakhstan was strange. This place takes the cake, though. I don't know what's going on here, but it's not nothing. I'll tell you that much. And just to clarify, all of this was just my opinion. It's just for educational purposes. It's just for entertainment. I'm sure this is a normal, totally fine city with nothing weird going on whatsoever.
There's no people, no one. The city's empty. This is an incredibly beautiful city, but so far everything seems quite empty.
Here, no opera. It's too noisy. No makeup on television. And no dogs. He made dogs illegal in the capital city of Ashgabat because of their unappealing odor. Social media? Blocked. Google search? Blocked. It's a police state, and Big Brother is always watching. It's one of the most isolated and repressive regimes on the planet. It rivals North Korea. It's just a bit flashier. Everything seemed a little bit over the top. We learned later that Ashgabat was awarded the world record for highest density of marble-clad buildings. It seemed like the entire city was built on world records. Let's pull up Guinness for a second. Largest architectural star. Most pools in a public place. Largest indoor Ferris wheel.
Here are 10 things that you didn't know about Turkmenistan. The Darvaza gas crater, also known as the Gates of Hell, was a man-made mistake created in the 70s. Their capital, Ashgabat, is in the Guinness World Records for having the highest density of marble buildings. In 2018, the president banned black cars from the capital because they were considered bad luck. They are one of the least visited countries in the world. There's a book called The Book of the Soul, written by the former president, and some of the contents were required to get jobs or even pass their driving tests. Turkmenistan has one of the largest amount of gas reserves in the world, thus gas is cheap. They were the first country in the world to be recognized by the United Nations as neutral. Over 70% of their geographic makeup is desert. It is home to the largest indoor Ferris wheel in the world. They have some unusual laws from their previous rulers like no spandex, opera, or gold teeth. Here are 10 things that you didn't know about Turkey. Called The Book of the Soul.
Hold on. Catch this right here. Do you guys see this? Look at this Capitol looking building. We see this building everywhere. Why do we keep seeing this building? Look at this, y'all. I thought that said Rihanna for a second. I'm like, what? Alright, guys. I tried to find more about these ruins. I couldn't find nothing. Let me screenshot this. Alright, yeah, I couldn't find nothing on these ruins right here. If you guys have any more information, I'd love to hear it. Alright, we're moving on from Turkmenistan Ashgabat because I think we pretty much found everything we could on it. Very secretive place. Very secretive. They got a Ferris wheel. They're sucking in all the Wi-Fi, using it for energy. Yeah. So, moving on.
There was once a society far more advanced than us. The Tartarian Empire was a society that had discovered ancient knowledge about farming energy from the atmosphere for free. They were completely wiped out because this technology threatened the profit and control over the world that the oil industry had. Many people think this is a lie, but I can prove it. Take a close look at Russia's flag and you'll notice that the horse is trampling on top of what looks like a griffin. And here's what the Tartary flag looked like. It's also a griffin. So it is possible that this is just truth in plain sight, and they've been showing us what they did all along. Russia does control the territory marked in the old Tartary maps, so maybe Russia was one of the main destroyers of this society. Some of the architecture in Russia does look very similar to photos of the Tartarian Empire's architecture. History has been completely manipulated to leave out this empire and hide the technology from us, but there's been gaps that have allowed us to discover the true marvels of our past. What else could governments be hiding from us?
Live footage, man. Them Dates.
Das sind besonders gesuchte Ziele der englisch-amerikanischen Bombenschützen. Kirchen und Kulturdenkmäler, Kinder- und Säuglingsheime und Krankenhäuser.
Cultural
Nach einem
monuments,
Terrorangriff
homes.
britisch-amerikanischer Bomber. Das Innere der alten Evangelien. Unersetzliche Kulturgüter und Kunstschätze gehen hier der Welt durch die teuflische Zerstörungswut des Feindes verloren.
You still think all these cathedrals was just supposed to be for churches? Just to go in there to worship? Or did these buildings have a grander purpose? I'm telling y'all, if you really is interested in Tartaria and old civilization, I need y'all to watch One Piece. And you gotta get into it. You gotta get into about season 7 and start talking about the world reset. And they got all.
Hold on, man. I'm with you, bro. But you said One Piece season 7? He just basically told us to watch 600 episodes of this anime. Like, I hear you, bro. Like, when you guys are in the comments, you be like, "Oh, Chuck, you like my best friend in my head." That's how I be looking at y'all. Like, I'm watching this dude. I'm like, man, I could be this dude's friend. And I read y'all comments. I'm like, yeah, man, when y'all meet me, I'm really like this. Like, I'm really passionate about this. But when he said One Piece season 7, I didn't want to get in One Piece, but I'm probably going to get into it because he said it. But that's literally a month of binge watching just to get to that, bro. We might need some type of cliff notes or something for that, homie. But hey, I hear you, man. And I might check it out, to be real, man.
All these poneglyphs around the world, which is our pyramids or our tablets or whatever you want to call it, right? And it's like ancient texts on these buildings. These the poneglyphs by One Piece that was left by the old civilization before the world shadow government took over. I'm talking about One Piece right now, which sound like, but each one of these poneglyphs, they're all across the world. They're big rocks. You feel me? I mean, they're like these big indestructible stones. And poneglyphs, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you know what I'm trying to say, hieroglyphs. They're trying to make so let's call them hieroglyphs. And if you read all of them, they tell you what happened to the ancient civilization. And then in One Piece, there's a thing called 100-year gap in history where nobody knows what happened within those 100 years. And anybody that goes to reveal the truth, they clap them out of there. I feel like this, and that's a Japanese cartoon, so I feel like they really dropping gems, because I ain't gonna lie, One Piece was an American cartoon or bought out by America. Bro, they don't have dialogues like that.
Hey, he's not lying. Them Japanese, they be trying to say stuff. If you ever watched the anime Hunter x Hunter, they talk about land beyond the ice wall. There's all types of monsters and stuff, popping off, all different types of stuff going on beyond the lands that they telling us. They not telling us. And what's another one? Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan got them blimps and the giants popping off. Who knew about them airships back in the day, taking them to new lands? So the Japanese, they know something, man. America cartoons, the ones that they be trying to sleep us, keep us under the radar with all this, These other countries' cartoons, they low key trying to get they Simpsons on, but in a stronger way.
You watch American cartoons and bro, it's always trying to sell you something. That's some bullshit. But when you look at cartoons from different parts of the world or TV shows or even movies, watch a movie that's from a different part of the world talking about the moon and the government and all that, and then watch an American version of it. It's crazy. Even their books, everything is just different. So we know these people are trying to hide a world reset, and this is why things don't make sense. It's like all they bullshit finally caught up. Like everybody's just like, hold on, stop for a minute. We driving to work, we doing this, but what happened? How did we get here? Okay, World War, slavery. We need more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need more than that. And the more you start tying pieces together, like, why is this same building in Germany and Japan if these people are supposed to be separated and that war?
It's like they had the blueprint. This supports my airship theory. I'm telling y'all, there's a foundry and they flying everywhere, dropping these boys off. Look at King Kong. How they was carrying King Kong. They had what? 4 helicopters, one on each limb, lugging them. They can do the same thing for these buildings. There was I don't know if they was digging it out of the Grand Canyon, making the materials or what. But I'm telling you, these airships, it's a good hypothesis. The giant theory, the only ways I ain't telling y'all the giants made these, because it'll be tough. Them giants is clumsy. And they ain't walking that far with these without knocking the chip off.
War and World War, this and that. Nah, bro. Nah. And you can't just say it was good versus evil neither, because through everybody's perspective, they trying to protect their family. They trying to make sure their people come through. But what led them to destroying, remember I showed you on the last video, what led them to destroying all the buildings like that? That was so weak. That was so weak, bro. And I'm gonna end this video earlier because I'm starting to get irritated thinking about it. Like, you should go watch my last TikTok of the Tartarian. You see what the building used to be and what it is now.
I'm laughing because I agree. It is irritating. Look at this. This is the World Exposition of Paris. You know, what you got to look for to go to Paris now? You got the Eiffel Tower, which is a giant antenna that they don't want you to know. That boy got a giant radio signal building below it. You gonna eat pizza. You gonna get in your hotel, then you gonna go home. That's it. They ain't popping nothing like this off, like no exposition of Paris showing you world-breaking technology no more. No. We got none of that no more.
And it's just ugly. I don't believe y'all built any of this. Like y'all said, y'all found it, right?
I agree.
What made y'all the inheritors? You killed the indigenous. When they say when we talk about indigenous, aboriginals, and they killed off the people and the culture, it's not just like, oh, we was dancing in a land. No, they killed the advanced civilization. They killed the several advanced civilizations, and it's deeper than skin color. They got our brains.
This is way deeper than skin color. This ain't about black, white. We all on these waters together. That World Exposition, we got 2 things we really got to dive into, man. We got to dive into the World Fair, and then we got to dive into the World Exposition, which was in Paris. The World Fair was popping off, I think, in St. Louis and Chicago. But that World Exposition was in Paris. And if you guys know about Star Forts, they were showing the technology at the World Exposition about how they were making the Star Forts by using vibrations into the underground, just the underground in general, sending the right frequency, and it will make water come out. So this was how they was able to make water come up out of nowhere from the vibrations leading it out from the ocean. I don't know, but it was some type of frequency that was sending and vibrating into the ground that was causing this water to shoot out. It's a super rare video. I would have to do some digging to find that one.
All right, so this is the part 2 of the St. Louis World Fair Union Square exploration that I'm doing through the internet, right? People, this is a picture of St. Louis, right? But notice how all of these old world photos, early development, it's always these vanilla skies. Shout out Minor Ville. He talked about them vanilla skies. There might be signs of early Photoshop. Next. So I'm over here catting off on Google Earth, right? And I'm looking at the surrounding areas of the Union Square building. And what in the Rome is going on in St. Louis, bro? I didn't know it was this intricate, bro. I thought this was a country town, like, growing up. You feel me? Then you see how it's not that far from the Ark. Then you gotta remember all these buildings is placed by the Nile River, the Mississippi River. You feel me? So I zoomed in on this Ark.
Peep how he said the Mississippi was the Nile. Bro is all the way woke. He knows America is in. He knows Egypt is straight in America. Yeah, bro is on it.
Ark, right? And you know this city is crazy just off of that. But when I see all them blue tops, like, yeah, even when you see those blue tops, so I'm about to zoom in on it. Okay, so let's talk about the Union Square real quick, right? So that's the train, the quote unquote old school Union Square train station, right? But all the city hall buildings is built right next to it. But when you look in the back of it, why is it an aquarium in the back of this beautiful monument? A basic plastic aquarium. Then you see they got some steel buildings left over, but it was probably a whole... This building, whatever was behind that Union Square, got destroyed. Facts. They go ahead and just wipe that off. And I guess they couldn't destroy the first part in the front. But all of this right here, that's new. But then you see the red tops still keep going. But you see them blue tops in the back? What if them used to be copper and everything used to be copper, just like the Statue of Liberty? Then I kept scrolling down, right? You see the structure right here with these pillars. Like, these grease-looking pillars, bro.
The pillars, I swear they are.
The top is copper. What if it used to be like crystallized in gold? I was trying to get a real picture of it, right? And I kept going down. Look at that ancient building right there, and guess what that is? City Hall. City Hall, bro. These are all in the same block radius. It's not like, oh, just one of these buildings on the street. Yo.
If you put any city under the magnifying glass, I guarantee you gonna run across stuff just like this. It's not St. Louis, L.A. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some stuff in Orlando, Oklahoma, Denver, Chicago, Detroit. You name it, definitely in Chicago. Half the city of Chicago is like this. Y'all be going past that stuff all day. Didn't even know. You know, be handling y'all business, going past banks. That stuff been there for over 500 years.
If you can't see what I'm talking about right now, bro, this video just not for you, bro. I'm not gonna even lie to you, bro. Look at that shit. And you still believe you're supposed to be working for some money. You still believe you're supposed to be a good citizen. You still believe you're supposed to follow all the rules, and these people is not playing by no fair rules, man. You see that's a remnants of that building right there. But they take a lot of the stuff that used to be on the top. Then look at this. That's what threw me off. I'm like, whoa, that's a courthouse? Yeah, okay. Look at that building, bro. In the front, bro. You can't tell me that look like something out of Greece.
And I guarantee you, if you dug up under this boy, you started digging, it'll probably half the size. This was probably supposed to be meant for the middle. Oh no, this was probably supposed to be the middle. This was probably double the size because the mud flood covered everything on the bottom. So all this stuff is probably twice the size. If you really want to bust it open.
That's how you know all these stories is flipped. And look, that's another court building. All of this is in the same vicinity of that Union Square. When you really start to fathom how intricate and big these buildings are, it points out that this civilization that's running this now don't know what they doing. The civilization, the people that's running things now, they don't know what the f they doing, bro.
We're going backwards.
And these type of videos I make just to make you think, like, these Smithsonians are psychopaths. These governments are psychopaths. These orders are psychopaths. They're not intelligent. They're not smart. They're not evil.
Reptilian shapeshifters.
They're diabolical. And y'all need to stop, bro. Y'all need to stop. I don't know how long you thought this veil was gonna last. We found it St. Louis in 1764, a European settlement, this and that, bro.
No, keep your head on a swivel.
I wouldn't be surprised if y'all found St. Louis and it was already abandoned, bro. It had to be infighting amongst us, bro.
Abandoned like Turkmenistan. We go to Turkmenistan right there, abandoned. Y'all know what's going on. That's how they found Chicago. That's how they found Harvard. That's how they found Yale. For entertainment purposes only. I'm serious. For entertainment purposes only. Or am I?
Amongst the people that built them structures, Moors. I'm gonna keep it a beam. There is no way you overtook the people that was this advanced. We had systems running across that river.
I'ma keep it a
We
beam.
have an arc, a gateway arc.
Is he rolling up? He really is keeping it a beam.
Even if they got plastic versions of pyramids in Memphis and all this, right? We got to think about something. Where did they get that from? Nothing is new. Everything come from inventory. Every single thing, every single clothing brand that you see these days come from old school shit that's been already invented. Everything is regurgitated from the ethers. So when you talk about, oh, you regurgitating information, everything is regurgitated from the ethers. You ain't make up nothing. If you ever got that idea, it's because somebody gave you the idea. Something gave you the idea. God, whatever, creator, source, divine, Yahweh, they gave you that idea.
We chilling on these waters, man. It's good to be back, man. And I care about y'all. Without y'all, there would be no dark waters. So let's get that clear. You know, y'all mean a lot to me. I be reading all them comments. You know, y'all is extremely important to me. I'm not gonna fight with y'all like I be seeing. I ain't gonna disagree. Hey, I do need to fine tune here and there. I'm not arguing with you. You know, we chilling on these waters. But for most of y'all, I am thankful. I be seeing y'all in the comments. I read all of them, man, and I appreciate it, man. We are really cool, if you ask me. You know, I can, you know, spiritually, I can feel all that. You know, we here talking, figuring this out. We on these waters together. Seriously. Your boy gotta cut his nails. They getting kind of long. Get you on these waters, man. You gotta, you know, demon might jump out. I might have to. You guys seen Ace Ventura? What was that? That little demon. Chicago. That's my movie, man. Ace Ventura, man. Y'all funny, man. Y'all funny.
Look at this temple creating free energy. Look at this temple creating free energy. And I heard that none of these buildings can really work anymore because they took the power source out. And they got me thinking, what's the source of power they was getting from? Like, what type of battery pack was it? And think about how they use batteries today. You think they just invented the battery? I feel like they just use cheaper, quote unquote, cheaper materials, what they like to call cheap. Or like the weakest material, the weakest metals, the weakest source to build all these buildings now. Like when you look up a technology building now, it looks crazy. They say this is a technology building with solar panels and all of this, right? How does it just look so dry? It don't have no fractals in it, no nothing. When you see these old buildings in this dramatic, in this structure, they look like the grid, the computer grids. And I'm like, oh, those are natural grids. So with these computers and these laptops, maybe they're just doing artificial grids. And that's a US patent down there that lets you know that they're antennas. So when you see these old buildings built like this, it wasn't because, oh, it's for show. Even when you look at the old churches, like, you know how they say piercing through the veil, and everything is symbology, because most folks hear about piercing through the veil, you might think like some curtains getting snatched down, but I feel like it's symbolic because the light pierces through at certain times. But I don't know, we ain't gonna go too deep in on that. You see these folks riding around in scooters. What type of batteries was they using? Was it the same batteries that they got them slaving for?
Yeah, we know that one. That's the Mercury Rectifier boys. They had them boys in the garage charging up on the Mercury Rectifiers. My older rectifier videos, we got it, but don't worry. We might be around Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, or even tomorrow. We might drop these. I had to re-record this video. I ain't trying to vent to y'all, but I did 3 hours on this video. I had to redo it, or else this boy would have came out Monday. I gotta redo the whole video, but I'm making it even better since I gotta redo it because, you know, hey, live and learn.
For in the con that Tesla got all these folks doing all this labor. got them in bondage right now. People want to talk about, oh, slavery didn't exist. Yeah, it did. It's going on right now, all over the planet. But it really ain't slavery. It's just these people become prisoners of war. That's just the reality of it. But no matter what terminology you want to put on it, this planet is going through bondage of a low source or a low entity. That's why they say, oh, don't pay attention to Miami. Don't pay. That's fake. It's fake. But don't worry about that. Huh. They don't want you to know they the only people. They don't want you to know that there's other people, other things, other beings that are more powerful than this government, bro. And when you even thinking about contacts with other terrestrial beings and other beings on different planes, that was way more possible 200, 300, 400 years ago because of just how we had the atmosphere of the planet. It's like they knocked all these tops down, these domes down to lower the frequency on the realm, bro. Then we can't connect. And if we do try to connect, what? They got them phone lines to send energy different ways, and it's like they bring the grid from inside the planet out. Like, bro, this makes no sense. Look at that building behind them. Why are they there?
That boy was empty like Turkmenistan, Ashgabat, and then they just, oh wow, this place looks cool, and they moved in.
This makes no sense, bro. Look at that door. Oh my goodness. And each one got a different design, bro. It's not the same copy and paste. I'm gone, man. I'm gone. It's interesting though. Look at this temple.
That's a beautiful point. He's like, why are they there? They look completely different. Like they shouldn't even been there in the first place, you know? But when we look at Turkmenistan, Ashgabat, and how that boy was empty, it would be the same exact thing. How long have they been there? 500 years plus. Probably longer, man. 700, 800. I sure would like to know the answer.
Put some sticks and stones and fans together and made a plane, right? But that's not true. They told you the Wright brothers put some sticks and stones and fans together and made a plane, right? But that's not true. What if I told you we've been flying around this planet? A lot of times when you see these mounds, they be looking like helicopter pads on the top. Check out this video I found on TikTok, on Instagram.
Hammers and chisels. Today, I think we take a step closer to finding out where this incredible knowledge of construction truly came from.
Where it come from.
Where we are all aware of the massive continent that was...
Oh, that's lunch break. Yeah, no lunch break. Shout out to the bro. He's super cool, man. I got to email him a couple times back and forth. He's a cool dude, man. Shout out to lunch break. Highly recommend you check him out too. Both of these dudes, man. We just need to have one giant Tartarian Royal Rumble and let everybody just jump in and talk. How cool would that be? I'm down to work with all these creators, man. I got nothing against none of them, man. I ain't gonna drop no names, but you know, the ones that be doing the creepy, scary TikToks, man, I got no problem with none of them, man. I think they all cool doing their thing, man. It takes guts to come out here in the first place to record yourself and even talk about this stuff. So y'all, hey, we all on these waters together, if you ask me. I got no hard feelings or nothing against none of them. Wish them all the best, honestly.
completely left out of our mainstream textbooks, the land of Mu. So let's go even deeper. When we go back to this article from the Courier Journal from 1925, nearly 100 years ago, where it reads, according to the records from Colonel Churchward and the East Indian High Priest, the records state that some people were brought by flying machines to India from the land of Mu in the Pacific.
Flying machines, huh? Then y'all heard about the stories of the wheel in the sky and all these things. Oh, I seen a giant dolphin. Could have been a submarine. You feel me? Based off of your perspective. If you ain't never seen a floating device before and you see a fin sticking out the water, you gonna be like, oh, it's a monster. Whole time it's a ship. Now, I ain't gonna lie, this make me rethink about this slavery thing, because they say that cargo ships and all that wasn't invented yet, and this and that, and yada, yada, yada. But it's a lot of technology that we don't know about. They said that they was using sailboats before it was motorized ships. But what if they had some type of technology before that? And why do all these mounds be looking like landing pads at the top?
Hey, that's interesting, man. We all learning on these waters, man. Nobody really knows, man. We just doing the best we can to go through the lies and piece together what we can, man. We all in this together, bro, for real. But these landing pads, this is new, man. This is interesting.
Big question I got. Let's get back into the video.
They learned to build palaces of marble. They acquired the skill to quarry gigantic blocks of stone and to transport them long distances and to carve them into human faces. Like we saw in episode 60 in Easter Island, where the records say that the people of Mu navigated the air and had ships where they sailed to far distant lands with rich cargo. And now that we know all of this, I want to show a few things. First of all, this is showing that the technology of flight has been here before, where the Wright brothers story, creating the first plane in the 1800s, would be a massive lie, where they have this information stored and giving it back to us slowly, as we have discussed. Secondly, they mention in the tablets that the land of Mu was in the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean has been named the Pacific Ocean for 13,000 years? Or was the land of Mu here much closer to our timeline? Or is there more land? Not the entire continent, obviously, but are there other lands, possibly bigger than Easter Island and possibly bigger than Hawaii, left over from that cataclysmic event that are still here today and simply hidden from our maps and our flight paths, where our current day planes could simply just be flying around that area? Where these hidden islands could be. Hidden knowledge, where our flight paths are just circling it. The Garden of Eden, the place where humans had cities, where they learned to build palaces of marble, and learning all of the construction skills that we are all asking questions about worldwide today. We are all wondering who built these cathedrals. We all know at this point that the horse and wagon community did not hire Donkeys Incorporated in the 17 and 1800s to chisel away at some stone and marble. And
then when you think about what the helicopter's name be, Black Hawk, Apache helicopter, all of these tribal names, right, for these helicopters, for these inventory, because let's not call them inventions. They pulling shit out of inventory, bro. Everything that you see on this planet today has been done. Phones, tablets, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, it's all already been done. And these folks leveraging our ignorance, they leveraging the fall that happened, because there definitely was a great reset on this planet, and it's another one coming, right? But there definitely was a point of history that was wiped off. Even when you look at the Bermuda Triangle, and it's like a gravitational pull and people go missing there and things of that nature. What if that's a realm that got sunk? Then he was saying how a lot of these lands they just fly around them. Why it take 10 hours to get somewhere. In all actuality, it really take 3 hours to fly somewhere, but they make you do 10 hours. 10-hour flight. You gotta go check in with London when you could just really do a straight shot to Africa. You know? The little games they play, bro, in this Matrix. They had us really thinking some Wright brothers too. Man, bro, I'm telling y'all, bro, I'm starting to think Nikola Tesla was just like this. A character, bro.
He just saw how they was harnessing ether back in the day, you know? He just saw how we was harnessing ether back in the day, and he was like, look, man, we gotta do something. And, you know, the blueprint was there. Definitely. Yo, huge shout out to My Lunch Break. I see him popping out on a lot of these TikToks involving the Tartaria, and man, he just dissects and breaks it down. If you haven't already, be sure to check him out.
We all want to know who built these massive cathedrals, right? We all want to know who had the knowledge before we were all born. We want to know Why we're being told that they were built with hammers and chisels. Today, I think we take a step closer to finding out where this incredible knowledge of construction truly came from. Where we are all aware of the massive continent that was completely left out of our mainstream textbooks, the land of Mu. So let's go even deeper. When we go back to this article from the Courier Journal from 1925, nearly 100 years ago, where it reads, according to the records from Colonel Churchward and the East Indian High Priest, the records state that some people were brought by flying machines to India from the land of Mu in the Pacific Ocean. The records say that Mu was the motherland of man. In Mu was the Garden of Eden.
The flying machines, I'm trying to tell you, they didn't say blimps, they said flying machines, these airships. Could this be how everything was built?
Where they had cities, where they learned to build palaces of marble. They acquired the skill to quarry gigantic blocks of stone and to transport them long distances and to carve them into human faces. Like we saw in episode 60 in Easter Island, where the records say that the people of Mu navigated the air and had ships where they sailed to far distant lands with rich cargo. And now that we know all of this, I want to show a few things. First of all, this is showing that the technology of flight has been here before, where the Wright brothers story, creating the first plane in the 1800s, would be a massive lie, where they have this information stored and giving it back to us slowly, as we have discussed. Secondly, they mention in the tablets that the land of Mu was in the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean has been named the Pacific Ocean for 13,000 years? Or was the land of Mu here much closer to our timeline? Or is there more land? Not the entire continent, obviously, but are there other lands, possibly bigger than Easter Island and possibly bigger than Hawaii, left over from that cataclysmic event that are still here today and simply hidden from our maps and our flight paths, where our current day planes could simply just be flying around that area, where these hidden islands could be, hidden knowledge, where our flight paths are just circling it, the Garden of Eden, the place where humans had cities, where they learned to build palaces of marble, and learning all of the construction skills that we are all asking questions about worldwide today. We are all wondering who built these cathedrals. We all know at this point that the horse and wagon community did not hire Donkeys Incorporated in the 17 and 1800s to chisel away at some stone and marble and knock out the Cologne Cathedral. We know this. We know that they didn't hit the stone with a hammer, a little harder and with a little more precision than we do today. And their work just lasts forever. And
If that's how we were doing it back in the day, we need to start doing it like that now. My God.
ours doesn't. It's not about effort. There's knowledge involved here. And we are just getting started today. Welcome to episode 61 of my lunch break. I hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new, welcome. Gloucester Cathedral, located in England, we are told was constructed by the people of the 1100s, 900 years ago. And of course, the narrative holds a major fire. In the year of 1088, because the narrative knows all about the year 1088. And this is fully documented, of course. No. The interior ceiling of the Gloucester Cathedral is incredible.
Oh my goodness, just soak it in real quick.
And I am at the point where I believe that this knowledge to construct this way, architecture that doesn't fit into our mainstream history at all, of primitive people in huts, no power tools, and zero background on their training processes all over the world. This incredible architecture and construction in every single continent may have come from this continent of Mu, where they seem to have had communication with a higher power, where we are told that this is the Garden of Eden. And it shows through the construction. We have the physical evidence that they were able to construct the massive stone heads at Easter Island. And then we have this, Nan Madol, located on an island called Micronesia, a location that is connected to the land of Mu, connected to Hawaii, and connected to Easter Island, also located in the Pacific Ocean, a once great city of man-made stone islands. The construction of the artificial islets probably started 1,300 years ago. Probably. Maybe. When in reality, in my opinion, it wasn't 1,300 years ago and was much closer to our current timeline, where they go on to say that this was built at the exact same time as the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, where they just eyeballed it, gave it a solid, educated guess. The experts really nailed these dates, where the 12th to the 13th century seems like the winner. So it's very clear that these dates are attempts to fit this place right into their timeline of thousands of years. And what is with these maps? Throwing a layer of static right over the top of this location with a perfect 90-degree angle. It's interesting to say the least. Nan Madol has confused the mainstream narrative, and they simply don't understand how to fit this place in, where this location holds construction of megalithic architecture, where the so-called experts cannot explain it, where they say little can be verified about the megalithic construction, where we already know at this point that this land was connected to the continent of Mu, where they were given the knowledge to build palaces of marble. They learned to quarry gigantic blocks of stone and learned how to transport them long distances. And
so earlier I talked about the airships possibly navigating from the Grand Canyon. Could it be the land of Mu where they learned all this? Because I didn't know how these things could be connected. I didn't know how it could be, these buildings could be crafted. Maybe they had some type of 3D printing technology, some type of scanner that they just hold over it with two hands and it scans and chisels it out. I don't know how they actually chiseled it out, but airships was a secret. They were stacking these boys, you know, and this just further solidifies it that they were all being transported from one place, you know. My goodness. And it knocks giants out that giants couldn't have carried it, because I know that some people were saying that, but that completely knocks out giants carrying or making these buildings.
And also learned how to carve stone, where we are told that they built huge stone buildings. And then they show us these depictions of it in the mainstream history, like it was actually constructed in the water, like this. When we know that it was built on land, built on the continent of Mu, it wasn't originally in the water like this. In legend, we are told that the builders lifted the huge stones with the aid of a flying dragon. So we definitely have something very interesting going on here in the Pacific Ocean, where Colonel Churchward claimed that the civilization of Mu was technologically more advanced than we are today. And is this not exactly what we're saying today? A civilization that was here before us, that we are not being told about in our mainstream history classes, that was much more advanced, with so much more technology than we have today, where we are being given all of this.
Sorry about that, yeah. Go back just a little bit.
Being told about in our mainstream history classes, that was much more advanced, with so much more technology than we have today, where we are being given all of this technology back slowly after 1776, where Columbus didn't discover anything and was a fictional character in my opinion, when the previous civilization before us didn't know of less land than we do today. Instead, they knew about more land than we do today. It's a complete opposite, where Churchward goes on to say that this advanced civilization, this group in Mu, was known as the Nacals. The dates and the years are all over the place, and it's the one thing that's impossible to translate. This is in my opinion, but this is because the year 2024 is not really the true year. I think the calendar that we use today is fabricated to completely confuse us. And the further you get away from the creation date, the further you get away from the creator. I'm not entirely sure which year we are really in, and this is why it's impossible for James Churchward to know how long ago the continent of Mu was really here. I don't believe it was thousands of years ago, like I've said before. He also goes on to say the ancient civilizations of India, which would explain why these tablets would be in an Indian temple. Babylon, Persia, Egypt, and the Mayans were built by the people of Mu. And if there was one place in the world that would be hidden from our maps today, one specific location that holds all of this technology, flying crafts, marble structures, everything, who's to say that the group of people that found this location, or the remains that were at this location and are in control today, who's to say that this group wouldn't hide this location that is the stem of all information from all of us? Is it just a coincidence that the Pacific Ocean is basically empty on our map that we are shown? And don't forget that being in control of the map is a key part of the game.
Oh my goodness, it is his story. You mean to tell me there's nothing there? Come on, y'all, something's gotta be there. You better start believing in fairy tales, 'cause you're living in one.
What if we are playing the game with a false map? Is it possible that a part of this incredible land of Mu is still here? Is it possible that the Garden of Eden is hidden to us? Is this why we have no idea where we are?
Hawaii could be man-made at this point. I'm sorry. The Big Island, Oahu, all that, Kauai. Think about how beautiful those places are. Them boys are man-made. They have volcanoes inside them. We all know now that volcanoes are man-made. They are dug out. What type of technology could dig out an entire island is my next question. Oh my goodness. Airships, it's out the window. Giants, no, I'm sorry. Those perfect mounds every time. Oh my goodness. If you really dig into it, all volcanoes are man-made for entertainment purposes only. So now, all them boys, the Hawaii's looking real suspect right now, if you ask me.
Or what we're doing here, or why we're finding massive structures that make no sense in our timeline, hiding massive continents, hiding technology, giving us a false history, giving us a false map. Is this why we are distracted with Egypt, where they tell us to look to Egypt and the pyramids?
I was just saying this. I made a 3-hour video before this one, and it just setting was off, so I wasn't able to do it, so I had to redo the whole thing. But I was going off about how we've been focused on Egypt our entire lives, but we see all these dynamic structures in these buildings. We don't know how they were created. How come the emphasis aren't even on those? You know, we're looking at Egypt and, you know, oh yeah, it's cool. And they got these mummies and stuff. I get it. It's cool. But what about these giant buildings? I would like to know who created them more than Egypt. The jig's up, man. People are curious now. The truth's coming out, man. You can only hide the lies for so long.
While the real location is over in the Pacific Ocean, where Churchward claimed that the ancient Egyptian sun god Ra originated with the Mu, where Ra was the word which the Nacals used for sun, as well as for their god and rulers. Now, again, this is all information that we can hold on to for the future while we go further into this research. Finding a continent that's conveniently no longer on our map, where they were able to construct massive structures, had incredible technology, and would explain the pyramids in Egypt, is something that I cannot keep to myself. Churchward had 2 major critics, and neither of them actually ever read the tablets that Churchward did at the Indian Temple, where we have Curtis Wilgus, a historian who taught at George Washington University, where he organized and directed the Center for Latin American Affairs, and also organized the school's annual Caribbean conferences. So this guy was locked in and knew all about these tablets, where the Caribbean conference organizer guy tells everybody that Churchward's research was the strangest of fiction. It was pure imagination, based on everything that he learned over at the annual Caribbean conferences. And that's exactly how Curtis aced his college exams, by asking 0 questions and receiving 3 mainstream college history degrees, 3 of them. So we have a very open-minded individual in Curtis. Now, who is this other critic? Engineer and writer L. Sprague de Camp, where he simply dismissed the idea of the Nicol in an article in 1946. Just dismissed it. De Camp spent 10 years attending Snyder School in North Carolina, in a military-style institution where his parents were heavy-handed disciplinarians to cure him of intellectual arrogance. All right, so we have 2 critics that spent their entire life being told what to think, and they were very good at it. And those were Churchward's critics, people that were never there, people that never spent the time in India at the temple, and had 0 proof that Churchward was incorrect. By simply just saying that Churchward's work is insane or mythical does not prove anything. It proves that their minds are so manipulated to the point that they can't ask any questions and can't let go of the lies that they've been told. By admitting that Churchward's work is a possibility, it would mean that these 2 individuals would have to agree that all of their time spent learning one way of thinking and feeling like they knew more than everybody else about human history, everything that they thought was the truth, may have been a waste of time. And for some people, this is extremely difficult, and I can't fully blame them. But at the same time, they need to start asking some questions, and not towards us. We owe them nothing. We have taken a total of $0 from them. We are simply asking questions about our past. These questions should be directed towards the people, the institutions that have taken thousands of dollars from them. We are simply trying to find the truth at all costs. If a massive continent of Mu is truly out there, or even parts of it, hidden within the information that is provided, a place with marble structures and hidden technology, a hidden past, and possibly an explanation as to why these massive structures all over the world, in all of our cities, and possibly the location of the Garden of Eden. I want to know about it. Now that we know that there are basically 0 critics of James Churchward's work, and we have records from 1925 that James Churchward learned more than just hidden history. He also learned, in my opinion, hidden technology from the previous civilization, where James Churchward owned over 100 patents. Now, I want to go even deeper. James was a soldier. He was stationed in India, where he became close friends with an elderly monk from a nearby temple, where these documents were in a secret archive in the temple. The priest or monk taught Churchward the language called Nicol, by which the tablets were written. And we know that according to Churchward's work, these were the people that lived in the continent of Mu. And the part that I find interesting is that the location of where James was stationed, the location of where this temple is located, is wiped out from our database. The fact that we cannot look up where he was based, hiding his location as colonel, proves to me that they want this information gone and hidden. As if the British government doesn't know or has lost the records of where they stationed one of their soldiers. He was stationed in India for decades, and this location of this temple is now hidden from us. Finding a continent in the middle of the Pacific Ocean was not a part of the plan. I believe that James Churchward messed up the mainstream narrative when he spoke to that elder. Having an advanced civilization that was here before us does not at all fit into the narrative that we created the first plane, the first train, the first car, the first phone, TV, the light bulb, and the rest. All in the 1800s. It would make sense that all of our worldwide technological information would all stem from the Garden of Eden, or in other words, the beginning place. A branch off to Egypt, India, Mexico, Asia, and the rest of the world. Having
Damn. Oh, man, I just got smacked in the face with reality. That is the central point location for everything, isn't it? This Mu, the Nicol, this is really a big deal. This is a big deal, y'all. Look at the strategic location. You can go anywhere and plant anything with them airships. They said a giant dragon is aided with this. Man, they got on, man. They got away from the Antarctic wall, and they got on to new land, man. They got on. Wow. Central location. Mind blown.
An advanced civilization that was here before us does not fit into the narrative that today we have the best construction processes. And it honestly disproves the evolution theory. It shows that we are not evolving and advancing. We are simply growing as we are allowed to grow. We are as advanced as we are allowed to be. And this is what James Churchward proved. And before we share this final article for today, the article that was written about James Churchward by his peers after he passed away, I want to make sure that we say thank you to all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber. You are all awesome in helping this channel grow to more and more people every single week. And this is when this article clears up a lot for us. When James did not go to India with the intentions of learning any of this information. He was stationed in India and was in charge of the old priest. James was in charge of the priest. This was his role. This priest was one of the 3 most highly learned priests of India. Secretly stored in the archives of the temple were hundreds of clay tablets. The old rishi or priest became highly attached to James Churchward and taught him the key to the ancient alphabet. So this priest or rishi taught James this information and then showed him secret tablets. And then we actually have these massive heads at Easter Island. We actually have the structures at Nan Madol. We have physical proof that backs James Churchward's narrative up. You can physically go there and see it for yourself. So the location of this temple in India, where James was based for years, is wiped out from our knowledge. But we all know that if there is a temple out there in India with hundreds of hidden tablets that hold incredible knowledge, then there most likely is more than one. Who else has hidden knowledge that holds our true history, just waiting for us all to find it?
Shout out to my lunch break. Oh my God, that was a banger. Man, I love that dude. That's as a public school student in the 5th grade in California, I found a huge blue covered hardback book in the town library by Cole Churchwood Churchward about the continent of Mu. I dragged that heavy book everywhere with me. Had to keep checking it out and reread it, man. Times over, I was defending Churchwood's works as being much more important to me than anything a teacher could possibly offer me. Fortunately, my great teacher was a rebel herself and was really into teaching her students how to think and introduced many subjects on the topic of history, classical arts, and invention. She got into so much trouble with her bosses over teaching her kids how to cook, work with clay, build a fire, and practice pioneer life. For instance, I even bought a goat to school so kids could drink fresh milk, and make cheese in the classroom. She was long gone from this earth, but I am sure she would have enjoyed this channel. Thank you so much for the vindication I feel watching this video, having to be surrounded all my 60 plus years by humans who didn't think to question the lies. Oh my God. People are waking up, man. People are tired of being lied to. And this whole James Churchward Nicole business with the large dragon delivering these damn highly architect ether sucking pieces. We got to dive more into that. Oh my goodness. If those structures were built with hammers and chisels, we need to go back to hammers and chisels. I'm telling you, the Vatican holds This knowledge that is highly sought. I wonder why people do not demand those Vatican archives be open to everyone. Please, why? Please do that, man. Why not? You know? Reminds me of old saying, there's nothing new under the sun. It goes way deeper than this. There's been many resets. How many resets we talking about? It's not about the effort. There is knowledge involved here. Best quote ever. They spitting. When people getting fed up, man, we want the truth. You know? What's really going on here? We don't know are they lying about the time? We don't know what year it is, you know? They did the reset so many times, you know? We couldn't really tell you what year it was, honestly.
Tartaria has emerged.
What's good, family? Was the U.S. before the USA? Is it possible the United States existed 1,000 years before the Declaration of Independence? Check out this coin. It says US 500, not USA. The date on the coin says J783, and the reef around the US is indicating it's Roman. I think the J on the coin stands for Justinian, the Eastern Roman Emperor. Check this out, the fall of the Western Roman Empire, 476 AD. Look at this coin. Below it reads Holy Roman Empire, Maria of Austria, 1528 to 1603. Family, that's 1,000 years. 476 Western Rome ended. How does Rome exist in the 1500s? Do you see on the left of the coin Roma? Does the date say 1586 or I-586? Where is this history? When I look at this coin, the words United States become worldly. It's dated J783, and a Roman wreath is on the coin. Family, is this the United States before America and the signing of the Declaration of Independence? Is Brazil and Germany a part of the United States of Rome? Family, was the Declaration of Independence truly a separation from Rome and not Europe? Look at the date. Is that I-776? Compare with the big I below. Drop a like, friend up.
That one, man, there's definitely some correlations going on with that. But 1,000 years, man, this is a new one for me. I gotta dig off in this. But if they managed to hide 1,000 years from us, I don't know if I want to be mad or impressed. You know, probably a combination of both, to be honest, man. But this is his story. The lies were just buried in it.
I've been wanting to show everyone this photo for a while. This is Mont Saint-Michel in France. This photo was taken in 1925. Now, on the ground, you can see there is a railroad track in the dirt. Railroad tracks need to be screwed into wood. If they were constructed in our timeline, just like this picture, you can see the wood because we constructed it. Now, the train was basically brand new to the world at this point. So we should be able to see the wood planks in this photo. They are completely covered up by the dirt. The only thing sticking out is the railroad tracks from, in my opinion, the previous civilization. And we are reusing their technology. This entire area was dug out of the dirt. You can see where the previous ground level was, here off to the right-hand side. This is an incredible structure, very clearly a place that was built by the previous civilization, considering Paris City Vision lets us know that this was built before cowboys and Indians. In fact, they tell us that it was built over 1,100 years before cowboys and Indians. In the year 708, very casually knocking this one out in the year 708. Any year would have worked, honestly. 706, 707 would have also been a winning number. Anything goes if you're the mainstream narrative, until now. Because we all know that this is just ridiculous and a complete lie. The logistics in building this before anyone even knew how to make paper is complete nonsense. 708. Wow. Oh, and did I forget to mention that this thing is in the middle of the water? Did I leave that part out? Well, yeah, it's in the middle of the water. And we are supposed to just believe that they had a great shipping company, an architect, a financial guy that would make sure that they had this all covered.
See, going back to that last video about the land of Mu, how they learned the secrets of travel by air and building these architects, man. It's in that Blue Dragon, I can't escape. Blue Dragon or the Big Dragon. And if you guys played the game Elden Ring, this reminds me of the Ray Lucaria school that's just out in the middle of nowhere, and it was protected by a giant dragon. Now that I think about it, how cool is that?
Covered in the year 708. Oh, and it of course lasts forever. With zero issues and not one flaw in the construction. It's perfect. Unlike anything that we have ever constructed today. How does the mainstream history make any sense at all at this point? You cannot go from this in 708 to evolving and advancing into sheds. And now we build Motel 6s. It's crazy. How can anyone ever go into a history class again without laughing? The year 708 was just a year of brilliance, I guess. Yeah, right. These buildings are from the previous civilization, and more people are realizing this every single day. And once you know, you know. You don't go back to thinking that the year 708 built massive structures on a cliff in the middle of the water with a train that just pulls right up to the front door.
That is incredible if you think about it, how they were able to build that in the middle of the water perfectly, and it's still no issues, still there. That is insane. But what does that have to do with the 1,000-year reign, though? That's my question. Something ain't adding up here.
Tartaria has emerged as a mysterious and intriguing enigma lately. Some theories propose that Tartaria, often considered an ancient civilization, might be connected to the elusive 1,000-year reign of Christ, concealed intentionally throughout history, of course. According to proponents of this theory, Tartaria's potential alignment with the biblical notion of a millennial reign hinges on the deliberate suppression of historical evidence, hence the destruction of global infrastructure in World War I and World War II. Now, the narrative suggests that this epoch of peace and prosperity, as described in Christian eschatology, may have manifested in the form of Tartaria, only to be hidden intentionally by unknown forces. Now, Tartaria, often depicted as a vast and advanced civilization, allegedly thrived for centuries before abruptly disappearing from mainstream historical records. Some theorists posit that this intentional erasure aimed to obscure a period of global harmony where technology and knowledge and spirituality coexisted in a utopian society. The suppression of Tartaria from historical records and narratives, as suggested by proponents of this theory, may be rooted in various nefarious motives. Theories abound suggest that powerful entities sought to control information, rewrite history, and conceal evidence that challenges established narratives. The intentional omission is proposed could extend the manipulation of things like maps and records and artifacts to erase Tartaria from our collective memory. Connecting this hidden epoch to the 1,000-year reign of Christ adds a spiritual dimension to the narrative. The idea that Tartaria represents a manifestation of biblical prophecy invites contemplation on the intersections between religious teachings and historical occurrences. It raises questions about the motives behind obscuring a period that, if revealed, might challenge prevailing paradigms. But at this point, I think we all know better. We've seen enough information to make informed opinions and decisions on the subject. As always, I will see you guys in the next video. Like, share.
What I'm going to present is the idea that the 1,000 years that people are finding has been added to our timeline. I just have a, I get nervous talking about this stuff. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So that 1,000 years, my theory is that it is the millennial reign of Christ. There, I said it. Okay, so we have churches all around the world. Christianity teaches all the different versions of Christianity. There are like over 40,000 different denominations of Christianity. Each one of them says they have the right way, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, they all present the doctrine given to them by their pastors who were taught by seminaries that are full of garbage. Completely worthless, waste of money, full of garbage. Anyway, they teach that the 1,000-year reign, the millennial reign of Christ, is going to be peaceful, and that it begins when he returns, the second coming, and that we have yet to go through any tribulation until he returns. And that's where they've hidden the 1,000 years, people. They tell you that the 1,000-year reign of Christ begins when he returns, but it began whenever he took the throne. And he took the throne after he was crucified and ascended back to heaven with Yahweh. That's when a king begins his reign, when he takes his throne, right? And how does a king become the King of Kings? Well, the people that are brought to judgment either bend the knee in submission willingly, or there's going to be a fight, right? There's going to be a war. What I'm going to present is the idea that
What will it look like in the 1,000-year reign of Christ? This is a really cool topic because the Bible gives us some detail of what the world will be like after the Antichrist and the false prophet are thrown into the lake of fire. We know that in the Battle of Armageddon, Jesus comes down on a white horse and literally defeats the Antichrist with the breath of his mouth. And once Jesus makes it to earth, his first order of business, of course, is to lock up Satan in the bottomless pit for the 1,000 years. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. He laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. Once he does this, his next order of business is to separate the sheep from the goats, which Jesus mentions in Matthew 25:31. So this means that Jesus is separating those that are true followers of him and then those who aren't. Then I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Jesus and for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast or his image and had not received the mark on their foreheads or on their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. I think a common misconception of this time is that it gets mixed with the new heaven and the new earth, which happens after the 1,000-year reign of Christ. These aren't the same thing. So during these 1,000 years, the earth will still be here, and yes, humans will be too, just doing what they do. However, Jesus is now the king and ruler of all, and not a single person will have to worry about being tormented by evil. Well, that is until Satan is let out at the end of the millennium, but that's a subject for another day. So what will everyone be doing during that time? In Daniel 7, it shows that authority will be given to us, God's people, to rule the nations. So picture this, the people who survive the tribulation, the real believers in Jesus, they will continue to live on the earth and reproduce and all that. And then those who were martyred or raptured at the last trumpet will also be there in their resurrected bodies. It also says in Revelation 20 verse 6 that the believers will reign as priests, and the 12 disciples will sit on 12 thrones over Israel. So have you thought about this? How will Jesus decide what you will be doing for the 1,000 years and for eternity? What determines the level of authority that you'll have? Hear me on this. It's the whole point of this video. The authority that you will be given for eternity is based on what you do right now in your life. It says in Ephesians 2:10 that God prepared good works in advance for you that you may walk in them. This isn't talked about a lot, but yes, you will be rewarded for the works that you do. Works can't save you, but they will determine your level of authority in eternity with Jesus. The end goal isn't just to get saved. It's to walk in the anointing, power, and authority of Christ and accomplish what he's called you to do. Remember that. So what will it look like in the 1,000-year reign of...
That isn't the first time I've actually heard about that. It's kind of hard for me to grasp what people are saying about the 1,000-year reign, because the ultimate goal for when that does happen, the last stages, when Yahushua does come back, he's clearing the earth. He's making sure the earth is perfect, back how it was when Adam and Eve was walking around, so heaven can combine with earth. That was the ultimate goal. Back when I was getting deep in my studies, and I was, oh man, the letter J was created 500. You can't, man, I was out cold with it. I'm not gonna lie. But with seasoning, I found out that looking at a seed, the actual name apple seed doesn't make an apple tree. If you can catch what I'm saying to you. With seasoning, I can tell you that. But I can tell you, back in the day, about 5-6 years ago, man, I was out cold with it. You can ask anybody I know. They were like, yeah, man, hey, man, the letter J was invented 500 years. Man, I was going crazy. But with seasoning, I can tell you, so again, about this 1,000-year reign, he's trying to get the earth perfect for heaven so it can merge into one. And then, you literally got heaven on earth, and everything, all the evil, everything is, you got a giant utopia. You know what I'm saying? So it's beautiful, prosperous. But yeah, he's not playing though when he comes back. He's getting everything, leveled out. So to say that, the 1,000-year reign already happened, it's tough for me to, swallow, because you're almost saying that, we're getting prepared, for the merging of, heaven, and we definitely ain't there. If you ask me, things are getting better. If you ask me, things on earth are getting a lot better than what it was, despite what people focus on, but there's still a lot of good, on the earth. There's still his righteous remnant of his people that is still on earth, and that is beautiful, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Where we at, man? We on these waters. There's still a lot I want to talk about. We ain't talked about the bells yet. It's another structure I want to get into that was crazy. It's 3 things I haven't covered. So this whole entire week might be just straight Tartarian, but there's 3 things I want to cover. The bells. Microscopic radiolarians.
According to American Museum of Natural History, radiolarians have captivated scientists since these single-celled organisms were first observed under the microscope in the 19th century. Neither animals, plants, nor fungi, these soft-bodied organisms are protists and are notable for their ability to absorb silica from seawater to form elaborate skeletal structures.
Huh. I think we're getting somewhere, y'all. This isn't over. Look at the honeycomb structures. I wonder if that's how they were storing the ether within there, man. Because if you think about it, Honeycomb stores something. What are they trying to store in there? If you ask your boy that's on this new Tartarian free energy kick, they was storing ether up in there for entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. Alright? Storing energy in red bricks? What does that say? Wow, it says regular red bricks can be converted into storing energy. What are we doing? What are they hiding from us? I know this holds some truth to it because I seen a I'm just gonna show it to you guys. And then we getting back to these. Is that copper? Hold on. I had an old penny one time, and the penny was getting so old it started turning green. I believe that's copper. I hope I'm right, because I'm gonna look like a giant fool in front of a couple thousand. But yeah, I think copper does turn green. I believe that is copper. But if it is, I think we're on to something. Hold on, I'm getting too excited. What was we going to see first again? There's something I was going to show you. Oh yeah, about the rocks storing energy. Let's take a look at that, and then we're going to dive into this copper. Uh-oh, your boy found it. Uh-oh. So, if we look at that last creepy TikTok we just watched, and they said that the red bricks store energy, what is they doing here? Did you guys see that? That has to hold some type of precedence on red bricks storing energy, because we can see it look like those. If we go back to it, it looks like the light is getting absorbed. It's just siphoning in energy. How cool is that? I love this stuff. I can't get enough of this. If you guys haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button if you're just excited about this stuff as I am. I finally got some people to talk to about this without they looking like, get away from me, dude. You're scaring me. My bad. I want to talk about it, bro.
Denderolite, a peculiar hieroglyph that is located in the Hathor's Flow. There is a fascinating hypothesis that the Denderolite, a peculiar hieroglyph that is located in the Hathor temple, could be a representation of an ancient electrical device. The main image is found on freestone reliefs and shows a long pointed object surrounded by a bubble or bulb-like shape with a wire leading to a box where figures can be seen. At the other end of the bulb is a lotus flower, and extending from this is a snake-like line. Some proponents of the ancient astronaut hypothesis suggest that this is a clear depiction of an electric light bulb, with the snake representing the filament, the lotus flower the socket, and the bubble the bulb itself. There is a
All right, y'all, this is just a different view of somebody doing what we was talking about earlier. You can see it get absorbed a lot better on this one. How cool is that? guys, let's see what's going on with this copper now. Huge shout out to Cultivate Elevate. If you guys haven't checked him out, I highly recommend it. He says some interesting stuff for entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. I'm just reacting. So, yeah, this guy is super cool. Appreciate him. Let's see what he's talking about now.
In your water, you're an electrical being. So if you don't have electrically conductive water, copper creates electrical conductivity in your water. You're an electrical being. So if you don't have electrically conductive water, you have no more conductivity in your body. That's why everybody used to have copper pipes in their home. That was helping to keep the electrical conductivity going in the body. Think of all the people who had copper pipes. They had no gray hair. They had a great memory. They lived to 90. They maybe lived to 100 having copper pipes. Then all of a sudden they started bringing in all the plastic, DuPont plastic pipes, PVC pipes, which leak vinyl chloride. And where have we heard that one before? Remember when all those train spills were happening? What were they leaking? Vinyl chloride up into the air? Because they create PVC pipes. You see how there's a flip? You get rid of the copper, which is beneficial to the body. It also helps electrically charge the body. And you switch it to plastic, which plastic doesn't do anything for conductivity. And it blocks the ether or the energy that's transferring the entire time. So why do they tell you now that they want you to get rid of your copper pipes or register them? I actually saw that on the news too. They said they wanted everybody to register their copper pipes because copper pipes also block radio frequencies, which would protect your water. But drinking out of plastic results in all those PFAs and hormones and toxins and everything going up inside the body. And then it sits in every water molecule of the body. Drinking out of
Don't tell me that. I need a damn copper crown, blocking all that stuff. I need copper pipes, copper cups, copper dishware. Some of the best pans you can cook with. I used to watch this, I forgot where it was, Netflix or something. It was a professional cooking show. They made the best tacos. And one of the secrets to the tacos they were making was the copper bowls. I still haven't had none of those expensive, exclusive tacos, you know, really from any top tier restaurant. But I know when I do get some, if they don't got those copper bowls, it's not official. Hit that like and subscribe. Your boy Jesky Chuck on his creepy and scary reactions.
Our history is all a lie. Ever heard of the Tartarians? Well, they were a unified and advanced race of people who built extremely well-crafted buildings like this, and they designed them in order to obtain free energy from the atmosphere. These style of buildings are everywhere, yet people attribute them to design and architecture styles, and the history and true meaning of them has been falsified by someone or something that doesn't want us to know about it. There is so much more to the story. Think about it. What happened? If we did actually build these, then how have we gone so far downhill? Well, the theory goes that there was already a powerful organization that controlled the world through the sale of energy and had already heavily invested into energy production. They were completely against Tartaria because free energy would be the end of any control that they had. So they tore Tartaria apart and erased them from our history, making it seem like Tartaria never existed. But if you dig deep, there is still a load of evidence that proves their existence. Just look at all these buildings and architectural structures that seem to advance to have been built by the respective nations. Funny enough, all of these structures have a common theme: harvesting energy.
President Vladimir Putin in 2013 made Tartaria maps public, and in 2017 he also gave a map created by William Blair of Tartaria to the former president of Tatarstan, also known as Tartaria. So how did William Blair have such a clear picture of this country if it didn't exist? We learn about the famous Egypt, the Persian Empire, the Ottoman or Roman empires, but all of this history is small in comparison to the Tartarian Empire, unless it isn't true and it's just a myth or a story. but you can find too many documents that state this region certainly did exist. The landmass and territory called Tartary and Great Tartary was an historical location in northern Asia that existed between the Caspian Sea, the Ural Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. Tartary was a blanket term used by Europeans for the areas of central, northern and eastern Asia, as these parts were largely unknown to European explorers. This is why the entire geographic territory was known simply as Tartary, and its inhabitants were called Tartars.
How are they getting these photos? These look crazy. This might be AI. It looks better before. Tell me the before or then doesn't look better than the now right now. Man, these photos be moving so quick. Let me go back to that last one. You don't know the importance of beauty and tradition until it's gone. Wow. I've seen somewhere where people said these buildings been here for thousands of years. How crazy would that be?
And what's fascinating was there was a guy, I think his page is called My Lunch Break. He's on YouTube, and he showed some of these videos, and he actually asked ChatGPT how many pounds of stones were used for this building. And it came out to, when he asked about a cathedral, it was 500,000 tons of granite. And the granite came from different countries. So how would you move 500,000 tons of granite? And this was in the 1500s. That's what they're saying. This cathedral was built in the 1500s, and they moved 500,000 tons of granite. I mean, even if you had horses, imagine the amount of trips it would take to even try.
This is a little bit out there, but I don't know if you guys played that new Fortnite, Lego Fortnite. Granite, to transport that much granite is a lot of work. A lot. Especially you in the cave, your pickaxe breaking on you. You got to bring about 4 pickaxes with you just to transport that granite. That's a lot of work, y'all.
Move any of that, let alone the horses would get tired and fatigued, and then you'd have to walk. And he even showed that it would take, like, I think it was like 10 days to walk from the northern part of Europe to go to Italy to get the granite. So same thing with this. You know, as somebody just said, incredible buildings still standing today. Who did the construction? Exactly. Those are the questions we have to ask. Who actually built all of this, and what is this from? This is not from the timeline of what we were told, because if it was from the timeline of horse and wagon time and that whole situation, then we would sit there and go, okay, you know, you'd have a group of people, you get them together. But when you start looking at buildings that are like this, just so you guys can see that, and just absolutely crazy, you know, designs, you just sit there and go, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And we should ask questions. And why did these people hijack these buildings? Why did they take them over and turn them into a world fair and then make it into a reset?
Shout out to Cultivate the Elect. I just found that guy. Amazing guy. He's been dropping a lot of interesting stuff. I've been fascinated by everything he's saying, and he's asking some really good questions. Why? Who built this is the question. This, how did they get the granite transferred? You know, I don't know how many of you guys checked out that new Lego Fortnite, but if you try making some granite, especially getting some granite transferred, that's a lot of work. Horse and buggy ain't gonna cut it, especially if you backpacking that granite. There ain't no way. How do you think that granite was getting transported? Were they materializing the granite? Were they materializing any type of product they needed to make these buildings? What is going on? I want the truth.
Did they build it? How? Neuschwanstein Castle. How did they build it? How? Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. Built on top of two earlier castle ruins.
I like that name. Neuschwanstein.
This beauty was apparently constructed in 1869 and took only 17 years until it was opened in 1886. Its original plans look straight up out of a Disney film, but even its current state was the actual inspiration for Walt Disney's famous castle. It was concepted by a stage designer. It is integrated into the mountain and is made of 465 tons Salzburg marble, which they not just brought all the way there from over 200 kilometers, but also lifted it up the 900-meter high mountain.
So we got the Zengzwangs marble that they got to travel over 200 miles to get, and you got 400 tons of Zengzwangstein marble, and then you got to carry it how far up? 900 meters up a mountain of the Zengzwangstein marble? There ain't no way. How did they get that Neuschwanstein marble that far?
Like the other 400,000 bricks and 1,550 tons of sandstone that was used in order to construct this castle. How? There are construction photos, but only of the very late stages. There is a painting by Adolf Hitler of the castle, however, and life sure would be different if he would have just stuck to art. It also features various elements of deep mysticism. So I guess the question is, how did they build it? How? Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. Built on top of two earlier castle ruins. This
One thing they did say about Neuschwanstein Castle that was extremely interesting. It was these bricks, 400 red bricks. They could have used anything they wanted if they can go get that exclusive marble 200 kilometers down the road. They chose to use 400 red bricks. You know why? Because if we looked at the earlier creepy and scary TikTok that we watched earlier, they said these red bricks somehow was electrically charged. I don't know how, but it's kind of adding up a little bit. Up in the Neuschwanstein Castle, where they had 400,000 red bricks. Come on, y'all. How did they build it? How did they build all these extravagant buildings? I want to know. Can we go to Neuschwanstein Castle right now? Does anybody know that? And you telling me this stuff can move too? Oh no. This probably was generating, those gears was turning. Imagine when the ether is going through all that, man. I wouldn't be surprised if these buildings went up in the air. For entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. This is a reaction. I'm innocent. Like they said on Transformer, more that meets the eye. I ran out of disk space. I gotta start cleaning some stuff up. Man, today is not my day. I'm not trying to vent to you guys, man, but I did this entire video today and I had to redo it because I didn't have any sound. And now I just ran out of space. So I had to delete some stuff and restart the video up. But anyway, let me pick up where I left off because the video has to be done. I told myself I'm getting this video finished today no matter what. I don't care if I post it at 8 p.m. late than a mug, I'm still gonna post it. But anyway, I believe I was talking about these glasses. It's gonna be another time I mention these glasses and I'll tell you guys more about it, but trust me, it is a good one. But anyway, back to this damn Tartaria. I was on a dome. Yes, they trying to hide Tartaria from us, y'all. Got a little bit more for us to see.
They just kept throwing up buildings from another angle. Look at that detail. I mean, can you really believe that these things were built up that fast? And they just kept throwing up buildings. I mean, they must have been like the Energizer Bunny, just building things so fast that we can't even comprehend that they can build entire cities like that while being in a survival state. And somebody just said the Palace of Fine Arts. Yes, that's what that was. And here you go. Another San Francisco. Looks exactly like Chicago, looks exactly like St. Louis, exactly like New York City, exactly like South Carolina, the people who attended. Got all those people. I mean, look at that. These are massive buildings. And what's interesting is when you go through this book, you see that all of those buildings are called portals. Portals of this, portals of that, portals of this, portals of that. The name portal is very common. And all of these things, when you start to look at the design in all of these cities, they do look somewhat like portals where you would go and you would kind of go through something. So you have to sit there and go, when you look at the history lessons in which we have been sold with horse and wagon, that's not the timeline in which was taking place at this time. But then, as they destroyed a lot of stuff, then they started teaching us something new. That a bunch of people on horse and wagon were just roaming across, building across the frontier from another angle.
Don't tell me that's how they built that castle and that's how they're building stuff is through portals. What book was that? Shout out to Cultivate 8, Cultivate Elect. If you haven't checked them out, super interesting stuff.
This civilization was systematically destroyed and hidden from our history books. This civilization used atmospheric energy to obtain electricity. Having free energy meant that humanity could focus on more serious endeavors, such as creation, creativity, love, and self-development. We see these same geometric, beautiful buildings all over the world, from Africa to China to Japan to South America to Europe. These buildings show us that we lived in an interconnected culture, a culture that understood the deeper levels of existence and how to harness electromagnetic energy. History is a lie and a story built by our oppressors.
Hold on, they showed us something really important. Let's go back. There they go, moving quick again.
Lived in an interconnected culture, a culture that understood the deeper levels of existence and how to harness electromagnetic energy. History is a lie and a story.
Microscopic radiolarians? Microscopic radiolarians. Uh-oh, I think we came across something, y'all. Could that be what that death communication, what they working on? This stuff? Are these the microscopic radiolarians that they're referring to?
Harness electromagnetic energy. History is...
What if the Radiolarians was some type of molecule of the paranormal? What is Radiolarians, first of all? I need a definition of that. Hold on, y'all. Microscopic Radiolarians.
According to American Museum of Natural History, Radiolarians have captivated scientists since these single-celled organisms were first observed under the microscope in the 19th century. Neither animals, plants, nor fungi, these soft-bodied organisms are protists and are notable for their ability to absorb silica from seawater to form elaborate skeletal structures.
Huh. I think we're getting somewhere, y'all. This isn't over. Every time I do one of these videos, I have more questions. Not enough answers. Man. I'm going to replay this because it was a lot to take away.
There was a civilization that was far superior and more sophisticated than we could ever imagine. This civilization was systematically destroyed and hidden from our history books. This civilization used atmospheric energy to obtain electricity. Having free energy meant that humanity could focus on more serious endeavors, such as creation, creativity, love, and self-development. We see these same geometric, beautiful buildings all over the world, from Africa to China to Japan to South America to Europe. These buildings show us that we lived in an interconnected culture, a culture that understood the deeper levels of existence.
Sorry, y'all. These just fascinate me, man. How are they? It's something we're missing. They're doing something with dreams. They're connecting with somebody. Why does he have a wand?
The levels of existence.
They had a baby in that one. That's what I want to talk about. What is going on with these machines? This one looks like was talking to him. All different contraptions, you know, emitting some type of gas. Were the Radiolarians in here and it just went up? I want the truth. That's all. Entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. This is a reaction. This creepy, strange, and scary TikTok reaction is for entertainment purposes only.
Each little part of that Ferris wheel can hold anywhere from, let me see how many people are in here. The wheel is this, Each car weighs, oh, here's a good one. Each car, this is 1893, and I have to keep repeating 1893 because people are, as I'm showing you, on horse and wagon, but they're building things like this. Check this. This is really good. So it says, each car weighs 13 tons. 13 tons. Each car weighs 13 tons when filled. The weight is greatly increased. It's an iron axle. It runs through the roof, suspends, blah, blah, blah. The wheel in its car weighs about 1,200 tons. Okay, so people who I just showed you, who are walking around with umbrellas and in suits on the beach, which make absolutely no sense, are building Ferris wheels and things like this, which are absolutely just insane, that weigh 1,200 tons, and they're making over the one revolution of the wheel. Oh, here's a good one right here. One revolution of the wheel carries 1,400 people into the air. I mean, it's very hard to believe any of this. And then how about this? Here's another step. Look at the detail behind the story, but check this Ferris wheel.
Did they build it? How? Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. Built on top of two earlier castle ruins, this beauty was apparently constructed in 1869 and took only 17 years until it was opened in 1886. Its original plans look straight up out of a Disney film, but even its current state was the actual inspiration for Walt Disney's famous castle. It was concepted by a stage designer. It is integrated into the mountain and is made of 465 tons Salzburg marble, which they not just brought all the way there from over 200 kilometers, but also lifted it up the 900-meter high mountain, like the other 400,000 bricks and 1,550 tons of sandstone that was used in order to construct this castle. How? There are construction photos, but only of the very late stages. There is a painting by Adolf Hitler of the castle, however, and life sure would be different if he would have just stuck to art. It also features various elements of deep mysticism. So I guess the question is, how did they build it? How? Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. Built on top of two earlier castle ruins.
That's pretty cool. It was based off the Disney castle. That was my first time hearing about it. Very cool. Who built it though?
Now this don't make no sense. We can't even create these type of statues today. So let me ask you, what type of equipment was they using in the 1500s that could create statues like these? Oh my days. Just look at the detail in the arms. It was like somebody was petrified and turned into stone. I do wonder what technique they was using that they was able to make solid stone appear see-through. It's absolutely fascinating. Certain techniques and methods have definitely been lost over time. Because look at that. Absolutely brilliant. To think that this was done at a time when there was no electricity or no power tools is absolutely astonishing. I've done some further research into this, and apparently they was using artificial stone and artificial marble. However they did it, we sure don't build them like that anymore. Now this don't make no sense. We can't even create these type of statues today.
For entertainment purposes, of course. But what would you think it would take to build something like that with that type of detail? Could it even be possible to do that with marble today? Hold on, you told me these boys was charging even back in the day? There's no way. Some type of metro rail system? Oh, so they had cyborgs too. Oh my goodness. Like he's powered by steam or something. What is this? Looks like some type of energy generator. How do you make these up? There's no way. It looks like they're trying to. I couldn't even tell you. Begin a giant fan, maybe a telescope. I couldn't tell you, but it's definitely generating something. Where is this? How beautiful would this view be? Over the water? Man, I would just ride this just for the scenery. I got the rush hour bus back in the day. Okay. These are incredibly interesting because what if these got super fancy? Not just the ones we know about now, but imagine where they got really good at making these. And it wouldn't really take too much resources to get you where you're trying to go. To say you're just floating. If you're in the stratosphere, there's just no telling how far you can go. You know? They might have dipped, so we're out of here. These giant blimps, where does it remind me of? Oh yeah, on Attack on Titan too. They did have the blimps. Huh. That is interesting. I feel like the pieces are starting to come together a little bit. That is interesting. That looks like it's designed for long distance travel. Go back a little bit. How do you make these up? This is the same system where they had the rail on top. How do you make this up? What is going on? What type of siphoning device? What type of musical instrument? What is this? Is this the world's first auto-tune? I don't know. This one looks like the one from Jurassic Park. Where are these trains at now? These boys look like they ready to go in the water. That looks like a Batmobile. This is tight. Very interesting stuff. How far off do you guys think that is? Extremely interesting stuff. That ancient technology. What was they really cooking up with that ether? Let's go. Hop back right on these dark waters.
I believe there's a lot more to the giant bells of the old world and why they were gathered up. Look at the handle on top of these giant bells in particular. Perhaps there was another purpose for these bells and why they all had to go. The similarities between them and another artifact that brings great mystery to the tops of the bells in particular. These were part of a resonating free energy generating machine that had to go for the New World. Research the mud flood and fall of Tartaria. Question everything, friends. I believe there's a lot.
These bells used to be heard all over town. Now, even if you listen carefully, even if you can still see the bell tower, the sound is lost after a few city blocks.
So there you go. There's the difference between the acoustic world and the mechanical world. Half a block. 100 years ago, they could talk about listening to the beautiful chimes of the Holy Rosary Cathedral in the Hillcrest area and also South Vancouver. You know how many miles away that is?
100 years ago, Holy Rosary was one of the tallest buildings in the city. Today, it's lost in a concrete forest. If the ringing could be heard in Hillcrest, nearly 40 blocks away, then the acoustic profile of the bells has shrunk to less than a tenth of what it was. These bells used to be heard all over town. Now, even if you listen, then the acoustic profile of the bells has shrunk to less than a tenth of what it was. These bells, then the acoustic. If the ringing could be heard in Hillcrest, nearly 40 blocks away, then the acoustic profile of the bells has shrunk to less than a tenth of what it was.
I had to see that. Wow, that is insane. Imagine how peaceful the noise was back then, if you can hear it that far.
Under the influence and volume of sound takes different forms. The denser the sound, the more complex the figure the water forms. All the buildings designed to heal people were built exactly according to this model. The more complex the shape depicted on the building, the stronger the energy that the building emits. Free energy and regeneration for ordinary citizens is not much liked by the rulers. Water under the influence and volume.
Drop in the comments if you know what this is. We need more information.
Grandfather. I went looking for the first part of that dream and got thwarted. So I went looking for my ancestors instead. Meet the Reverend John 10 Shilling Bell Chastain, my ancestor and French Huguenot. If you didn't know, the Huguenots were chased out of France by the Catholics. So I went looking for bells in France. And what the heck? I was today years old when I learned the French people used to tell their kids that the bells flew to see the Pope on Easter. Which I'm sure is a coincidence considering this guy also flies around with bells on, but I digress. So I decided to go back further, found some old friends that you guys might recognize there.
I'm sorry, but this is Darkness Nine Waters. Just let y'all know, it's turn back at any time. Let's go.
And found out that if you ring bells, that were confiscated apparently during World War II and World War I. Look at the number of them. And I just can't believe they didn't show it more in the art. Just super weird to me. But I'm sure it has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with this. Probably has nothing to do with the people in this photo that they're talking about. Here's an existing bell and it has a really interesting inscription. I'll run that through the Google Translate for you. There's a fun little Easter egg. I'm sure that has nothing to do with this, right? Nah. And probably nothing to do with these tiny castles either, right? But anyway, if you didn't know, now you know that the largest swinging bell is in Kentucky, where my ancestors also lived. Have a great day.
Original poster. Sorry I didn't just stitch your video so they could hear what you said. My stitches always get messed up. For anyone watching this video, make sure you watch the original poster's video. It's a really cool story. The reason there used to be so many bells is because bells clear out negative frequencies. More specifically, and welcome to Schizo TikTok, they rid the space of demons. You're probably aware of the use of bells in Catholic ceremonies, Buddhist traditions, and many other spiritual practices. It's no coincidence that the spiritually inclined use bells during their ceremonies, rituals, and traditions. It's because it resets the space with harmonizing frequencies. Demons are essentially static electricity in the invisible world. When you play the bells, it sends out harmonizing frequencies. Those staticky frequencies cannot exist in the space when those bells are ringing, which is why there were so many gigantic bells. These were spread across the entire civilization, and anytime they felt something was off, like their intuition went off or they saw like a shadow person, they played these bells like crazy and cleared out the space. These demonic entities are predators and parasites in the invisible world, and they try to sneak into our space.
You know, he's spitting. But I just also want to add on the fact that there's something to do with a ram horn too. I believe somewhere it talks about using a ram horn to clear the airways to get your frequency across a little bit better. Nah, I don't know. You guys know about that, you know.
spaces so they can latch onto us and sap our energy. They're also the reason that many people have voices in their head or have urges to do bad things. These demons were relentless. They really wanted to get into this space where all the bells were because all these people were highly spiritually evolved and had a lot of energy. This was like a turkey dinner for them. So they slowly started possessing people one by one who lived on the outskirts, on the outside of this civilization, eventually getting them to band together under these evil gods. And then they went to war with this civilization, and they were instructed by the demons to take all the bells down first. This was the fall of Tartaria, and potentially the fall of Atlantis. They were masters of frequency. Just look at the old papers in Egypt when they talked about being invaded by these barbaric demon-possessed people. They used to use their ankhs in line with the pyramids to shoot frequency energy at the enemies. They called them the sea people. Here's a couple pop culture references to kind of support this idea. Remember, the subconscious is always trying to speak the truth through art. For one, the breaking of glass at weddings. This is about creating a harmonizing energy to start the marriage.
I keep seeing this. What is that? That's what we're going to dive into next. What is that?
To clear out the space of any negative energy. Remember, many times demons are creations of our own dark thoughts and emotions. In Spider-Man 3, when he's fighting the symbiote that's attached to Venom, he plays all the music on the bars and makes the symbiote go crazy. The symbiote is a metaphor for the demon. The massive amount of other stories where they're singing and playing music to destroy evil. Here's where it gets really interesting. The strengthening of the right hand in Revelations is about strengthening you spiritually. The new song is a new way to play the bells from within, so they can't stop it. Alright, let's talk about Tartarian bells, what they...
You know, that's why I did this same topic yesterday, because he said exactly what I was thinking yesterday about Spider-Man 2 when he was ringing those bells. I think one of you guys said it in the comments, actually. And that's where I seen it. I'm like, man, that is true. Y'all be spitting in the comments, man. You guys are very smart and wise. You know, props to you guys for that one. But I remember in Spider-Man 2, when he had to ring the bell, spoiler alert, that was the only way they could have stopped Venom. One of my favorite personal characters, you know? Man, it's entertaining.
Oh, you son of a bitch. What have you done? Now, I know a lot of you already know that bells was used for healing and meditation. But did you know that between 1939 and 1945, the Nazis went through the whole of Europe and confiscated over 175,000 bells? Oh my diddy, oh yes they did. And it's estimated over 150,000 bells was destroyed from air raids and bombings alone. So the mainstream narrative says the reason why they did this is because they needed more artillery and ammunition, so they melted down the bells and used them as weapons. It's also said that they put the bells into categories A, B, C and D. A being any bell that was made in the last 90 years, and D, any bell that was made before the year 1740. I know many of you won't agree with me, but I believe the main objective of those wars was to get rid of the old world. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Okay, this sheds a little bit of light on what we've been looking for. Alright, y'all. This sheds a little light on what we've been looking for. That bell with the symbol on it was rumored a top secret device which allowed the Nazis to travel beyond Earth. Other people think it's a time machine. No one knows its purpose really was. At the end of World War II, The bell and the developers mysteriously disappeared. What was going on with that bell? And where is it now? This is a good episode, y'all. I love these episodes. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. This is a good one. I like this one.
We don't know. The most popular theory is, how did the Liberty Bell get its crack? The short answer is, we don't know. The most popular theory is that the Liberty Bell developed its famous crack during a commemoration of George Washington's birthday in 1846. According to historical accounts, the bell is already known to have a small crack, but it is believed that it worsened during this particular event when it was rung vigorously. Over the years, the Liberty Bell's metal composition and design have been cited as contributing factors to its crack. The bell's design, including its large size and thin walls, may have also played a role in the development of the crack. Attempts have been made to repair the bell, but thus far none have been successful in fully restoring its tone or removing the crack. How did the Liberty Bell...
Hidden secrets about cathedral bells and healing.
Why did they destroy all the bells after World War II? Because if you sit in a bell and someone hits it and it begins to resonate, you can begin to heal like that. Because sound frequency instantaneously heals the body. Similar to chanting. If you any sound effect will begin to instantly structure all the body at the same time. That's what used to happen in the cathedrals. They would ring the bells or they would play the pipe organs, and all of the cells in the body would instantaneously become structured, which would instantly heal them. But they had to get rid of the pipe organs, which are made from lead, which is interesting, and they had to get rid of the bells, because both of those can heal people. Now imagine if a bell of the size was ringing in a cathedral. Now imagine the frequency that would come out of the cathedral into the town. You could heal the entire town instantaneously just by ringing the bell in the cathedral. That's why they had to get rid of them. They had to break all those bells. All the bells you ever look up. Just type in like bell in whatever country or city you're in, and notice how all the bells have a crack in them and they're broken. I wonder why that is. And people would say, oh, it's a conspiracy and it's just made up. No, there's intention. There's intention to get rid of these things so that we're dependent on a sick care system.
Man, that piano's hitting in the background. That was tight. I love that.
Hidden secrets about cathedral
this
bells
episode
and
is
healing.
Striking.
Why did they destroy all the bells after World War II? Because if you sit in a bell and someone hits it and it begins to resonate.
Were you able to tell the difference? Could you tell the difference? I've been using crystal bowls and tuning forks for several years, and one of the pieces need to be stable. So the crystal bowl is stable and you hit it with a mallet. The tuning fork is stable and you hit it with a mallet. Well, in this case, the bell is stable and I hit it with the Storge. The vibration is felt a little bit stronger, and I can feel the vibration in this hand as well.
Either way, where are all those large bells? This is an example of a star fort, and they're found all over. That's a star fort. So a star fort is an architectural design. It's a city built in a geometrical pattern, and you can find this if you look up Tartaria. Basically in the center there's going to be some main structure. In this case I think it's a giant bell, like these giant missing bells. Now we know that sound structures water, and there's tons of waterways around these star forts. So my best guess is that they were using the bell sound technology structure underwater, keeping their community healthy. Gee, I wonder why we don't do that anymore.
Remember everybody used to have a cane, and they'd have like a really cool bronze cane? They were grounding. I'm trying to figure out grounding in the winter. Just touch a tree. Yes, perfect example. If you have to ground in the winter and it's cold by you, just take your hands and put them around the tree. Or you can just kind of lean up to it. You can put your head on it. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do. You know, you can even touch a little bit of water. You can just put your hand. It might be a little cold, but your body will adjust. You know, that's the other thing. Cold is actually good for the body. Think about, if you think about the season, the cold part of this is actually beneficial to our body, because if we're hot all the time, we're just burning through salt and we're burning through electric the entire time. So a little bit of cooling can actually be very beneficial. You can use walking sticks as well. Think of people's canes. Remember, everybody used to have a cane, and they'd have like a really cool bronze cane, and then they would go down with a piece of wood and they would stick that into the earth. They were grounding themselves the entire time. But now the new canes have rubber on the bottom. I wonder why they put rubber on that, because that blocks up that ability for that energy to go right into the earth and then go right back into the hand. So if you think about all these canes and all the things that they use, it's all plastic now and polymers. They're blocking up the life force energy. But wood doesn't conduct as much as, say, metal. So usually what they would do is they'd put, like, for example, copper on the top. You grab on that, that's the top of the cane, that would connect.
That boy ain't coming off, y'all.
And then as the person would walk around, they were grounding with their cane. Think of people's canes. Remember, everybody used to have a cane, and they'd have like a really cool bronze cane. They were grounding. I'm trying to figure out grounding in the winter. Brain is copper and carbon. And Dr. Sebi said that. Your brain is copper and carbon. So you need copper for your brain to function and for your whole body to function. And Morley Robbins was talking about how we only need 1 milligram of iron in our body per day. The rest is supposed to be coming from copper. So think about this imbalance that we're having. We have no copper over here, and then we have all this iron and all this plastic over here. Well, this is going to gunk us all up, just like those pipes. It's going to block up those pipes, which what's it's going to do to the body? It's going to block up the pipes of the body, or the electrical pathways of the body, or the meridian lines that run up and down the entire body. So if you think about it, if you take the copper away, then now you're overloaded on iron. And iron doesn't conduct too well. But if we're conductive crystals, if you take out all the copper, you have no more conductivity. Then you start having people having inflammation, their lymphatic system's all messed up, they can't think, their stomach's all messed up. You start seeing all these things and going, kind of makes sense, because nothing is flowing. There's no energy that's flowing. It's all blocked up. How do you get copper into your body? You can look into liver. Liver is one of the highest sources of copper. You can also look into cashews with the skin. Another great source of copper. Or you could just drink from a copper cup too. There's different ways. Your brain is copper and carbon. And Dr. Sebi said that. Your brain is copper and carbon. So you need copper for your brain to function and for your whole body to.
I like this dude. He's spitting, man. If you guys want to check him out, let me throw up his link.
Mercury's an interesting one, because if you take mercury and you make it spin, it actually creates a voltage. It creates electricity. See that fan right there? If you take mercury and you make it spin just like that fan, the voltage will go through the roof. And what's interesting is there is mercury under all the pyramids in the world. So think about that. Now, what's also interesting is if you think about Mercury retrograde, which is where Mercury begins to spin backwards. So if Mercury is underneath our feet at all times and it's spinning, imagine what it would do to the body. Because if Mercury is spinning and creating electricity that's underneath the pyramids, imagine what it's doing to humanity. Then you go into Mercury retrograde, you start spinning back the opposite direction, and then all of humanity starts spinning back the opposite direction. And everybody's like, man, my electronics are all messing up and all my technology's messing up. Yes, because if Mercury is spinning back the opposite direction and it's below our feet, then all of a sudden it's going to cause a lot of electrical disturbances. It's simple. But like I said, everything in which we have been told has been flipped. And Mercury's an
there was this mega structure of this statue that was incredible that I wanted to go in depth on. And third was like this chimney like you never seen before. This outrageous chimney. These three things I kind of wanted to cover, but we might not get to that in this video because I'm already coming up on 3 hours. And like I said, if you're still here following me, I did this video earlier. It's almost 9 o'clock p.m. I did this video back in, what was it? 1 p.m. till 5. But I clicked the wrong setting on my file, so it was all choppy and I had to scrap it. So I'm trying to make this one even better than the last one that I did. So y'all bear with me, man. But I appreciate y'all, man, for sticking with me on these waters, man. Without y'all, there is no dark waters, man. Every time I hop on these waters, I know I got y'all side by side with me on these waters and we going through it. If you haven't already, drop that like and subscribe button, man. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here with me on these journeys, and I appreciate you on these Dark Waters 9s. Yeah, man. And I'm gonna drop another one soon. This entire week we on Tartaria, so y'all lock up and buckle up, because these creepy, strange, weird TikToks, we're going all through Tartaria trying to bust open what's really going on. So again, thank you for joining me on these creepy and scary, weird TikTok strange adventures, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.